Hello, friends. All of us sometimes get this feeling that our technical expertise or our hustle hold us back from our true potential for the true leadership. Everybody gets this kind of a feeling. Therefore, we dive deep into the most powerful leadership secrets from Bhagavad Gita. In a verse where Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna, tells Arjun, "O Arjun, be a yogi." But what does this mean for a modern CEO or an entrepreneur to be a yogi? Today, we are going to break down why the yogi, the leader with disciplined equanimity, consistently outperform the three most common type of executive. Let's go. Hello, friends. In today's hyper-connected yet fragmented business world, a CEO's greatest asset isn't just data, it is the universal awareness. In this video, we explore the profound leadership lesson hidden within Bhagavad Gita and how its wisdom can transform a busy executive into an omnipresent executive. Let's go and discuss this further. In the world of business, we are taught that results are everything. Quarterly earning, market share, profits, these are the metrics of our worth. We spend our life chasing the fruits, but there is a ceiling to that kind of leadership. Eventually, the chase leads to burnout, short-sightedness, and a strong sense of emptiness. 5,000 or 7,000 years ago, on a different kind of a battlefield, Bhagwan Krishna gave Arjun a piece of advice that is arguably the most sophisticated management strategy ever recorded. Today we are looking at chapter 8, verse 28. It is the secret to why the most iconic CEOs don't actually chase results, they transcend them. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Let's proceed further and let's examine the verse. And the quote starts, "A yogi who performs devotional service transcends the fruit of Vedic study, austerities, sacrifices, charities, and pieties. He attains my supreme eternal abode." And the quote close. Let us translate that into an executive speak. In the ancient context, the Vedic study and the austerities were the standard best practice for success. In today's term, these are your MBAs, your 80 hours work week, your strategic philanthropy, and the corporate social responsibility. Krishna isn't saying these things are bad. He's saying these are, intermediate goals. A yogi CEO doesn't just do the work to get the result. They perform the devotional service. In business, we call this purpose-driven leadership. Why does Bhagwan Krishna tells us to transcend the fruits? Because when a CEO is obsessed with the fruit, which is in other terms is profit, or the exit strategy, three things can happen. First, risk aversion. You become afraid to innovate because you might lose the immediate prize. Second, short-termism. You sacrifice the health of the company in your 5-year bonus and year on year. So basically you're now waiting for 5 years and then on every year you're basically ignoring the company's health. Third, anxiety. Your peace of mind is at a mercy of the market. So when the verse talks about transcending the fruits, it's about decoupling your identity from the outcome. When you stop chasing the result, you gain the clarity to see the move that actually wins the game. And the verse mentions about devotional service. For a CEO, this doesn't mean you have to be in a temple. It means your work is an offering to a higher mission. Think of the yuan Koinard at Patagonia, or Satya Nadella's shift at Microsoft. They shifted from beating the competition to a higher purpose. When you lead with a devotion to a mission, whether it's solving a climate crisis or empowering every person on the planet, the fruit, which is the profit and the piety, come as the natural byproduct. By aiming for the supreme abode, which we can interpret at the as the ultimate vision or your legacy, you automatically satisfy all the smaller matrices of success. The verse concludes, and the quote starts, he attains my supreme eternal abode, quote close. For a leader, the supreme abode is the state of equanimity. It is the ability to lead from a place of inner stillness. While the other CEOs are panicking over a bad quarter, the yogi CEO remains fixed on the eternal vision. This isn't just the spiritual fluff, it is the competitive advantage. A leader who cannot be shaken by the fruits is the most dangerous competitor in the room because they are playing an infinite game while everyone else is playing a finite one. So, here is the challenge for the modern executive. Look at your sacrifices and your charity and your studies. Are you doing them just for the fruits? Well, I think that's a question that you can send it across to us if you want to share. Chapter 8, verse 28 invites you to level up, stop chasing the quarterly numbers, quarterly earnings, start performing your leadership as a service to a higher purpose. When you transcend the result, you don't lose them, you master them. The best CEO don't just build companies, they attain a legacy that lasts. They reach their supreme abode. So friends, are you ready to stop chasing this, start chasing the result and start transcending? Do let me know. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before I go, I would like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे कि जो मार्केट वोलेटिलिटी है या ग्लोबल अनसर्टेनिटी है या कांस्टेंट डिसरप्शन जो हमारे बिजनेस में होते रहते हैं, इसके होते हुए एक लीडर, एक सीईओ अपनी ट्रू स्ट्रेंथ को कैसे महसूस कर सकता है। तो इस बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट सवाल का आंसर ढूंढेंगे हम, भगवत गीता का सहारा लेंगे और इसमें देखेंगे कि ये हमें क्या एडवाइस भगवत गीता हमें देती है। ऑलराइट, हम ये डिस्कवर करेंगे कि कोई ऐसा मॉडल है जो हमारे को बहुत शक्तिशाली बना देता है, इनडिस्ट्रक्टिबल बना देता है और ऐसा हमको बना देता है कि हम किसी चीज से विचलित नहीं होते हैं। तो ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है आज के परिप्रेक्ष्य में, स्पेशली सारे लीडर्स के लिए। तो कहीं मत जाएगा क्योंकि ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग हम डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। तो दोस्तों, आपका फिर से स्वागत है। और हम इस एपिसोड में एंशिएंट विजडम जो हमारे भगवत गीता में मेंशन्ड है उसका सहारा लेंगे और हम जानेंगे कि जो लीडर्स होते हैं वो कैसे हाई प्रेशर लैंडस्केप के अंदर 2026 में, क्योंकि बहुत हाई प्रेशर है, बहुत सारे रेगुलेशंस हैं, बहुत सारे नई तरह से बिजनेस करना है। तो इसमें जो लीडर्स हैं, आज के हमारे जो लीडर्स हैं या आप हैं या सीईओज हैं, ये कैसे अपनी रेजिलिएंट, अपने सॉफ्ट स्किल को इतना बढ़ा सकते हैं कि वो एक जो स्किल है आपका उसको बिल्कुल इंडिस्ट्रक्टिबल बना देगा आपको। तो हम इस चीज का विश्लेषण करेंगे आज। और हम ये जो इसका आंसर ढूंढेंगे भगवत गीता के चैप्टर 2 वर्स 23 से। ये वर्स है, बहुत ही छोटा सा वर्स है, बहुत ही 2 लाइनों का इसमें श्लोक है ये। इसमें भगवान कृष्ण एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं अर्जुन को, जब अर्जुन अपने कुरुक्षेत्र में बैठे हैं, और एक ये मास्टर क्लास की तरह ये डिलीवर किया गया है। और इसमें ये बताया गया है कि इस वर्स के अंदर कि आप कैसे अपने आप को साइकोलॉजिकली स्टेबल बना सकते हैं। ये बहुत ही जरूरी है, क्योंकि अगर आप किसी बोर्डरूम में जा रहे हैं और आप साइकोलॉजिकल स्टेबल नहीं है, आपको कोई चीज परेशान कर रही है, तो आप वहां पे फेल हो जाते हैं। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं तो बताइए कि आप किस सिटी से हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं और किस भाषा में आप हमारे वीडियो देखते हैं। चलिए हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। जो ये वर्ड्स है, ये जो श्लोक है, ये कहता है कि जो हमारी आत्मा है, जो हमारा सेल्फ है, ये एक किसी भी हथियार से डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं किया जा सकता, आग में जलाया नहीं जा सकता, पानी से इसको गीला नहीं किया जा सकता, और ना ही हवा से इसको उड़ाया नहीं जा सकता। तो अगर इसको आप प्रथम दृष्टि में देखेंगे, फर्स्ट ग्लांस, तो ऐसा लगता है कि ये कोई मेटाफिजिकल स्टेटमेंट है। लेकिन मॉडर्न एग्जीक्यूटिव के लिए, जो आज के सीईओ हैं, उसके लिए ये क्या वैल्यू रखता है। लेकिन इसको आप ध्यान से पढ़ेंगे, हम इसको डिकोड भी करेंगे। ये एक साइकोलॉजिकल ब्लूप्रिंट है, जिसमें भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को सिखा रहे हैं कि जो आपकी जो कोर कैपेसिटी है डिसीजन मेकिंग की या जजमेंट लेने की, ये कैसे आप अपने जो जजमेंट लेने की जो इंडिपेंडेंस है आपके दिमाग में, ये एक्सटर्नल जो थ्रेट्स होती हैं उससे इफेक्ट होता है। तो कैसे आप अपने आप को बचा सकते हैं। और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में हमारे जो एक्सटर्नल थ्रेट्स हैं वो क्या क्या हो सकते हैं। देखिए, क्रिटिसिज्म हो सकता है, मार्केट में आग लगी है, आग लगी है, हर चीज खराब हो रही है, कोई बिक रहा है, कुछ नहीं बिक रहा है, तो मार्केट का डेटा वो एक एक्सटर्नल हो सकता है। और रेगुलेटरी चेंजेस एक एक्सटर्नल इनपुट हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि रेगुलेटरी चेंजेस होते हैं, रियलिटी है लाइफ की कि जो गवर्नमेंट है किसी भी देश में, वो कभी भी अपने हिसाब से वो रेगुलेशन को बदल देते हैं। तो हमें बिजनेस को ये हमेशा इनपुट रहता है कि कुछ ना कुछ उथल पुथल हो रही है। और दूसरा लास्ट में क्या होता है, इकोनॉमिक वॉलेटिलिटी। इन सब के बावजूद जो इकोनॉमी है वो हमारे हाथ में होती नहीं है, ये तो यूनिवर्स अपने आप ही मेंटेन करता है इस चीज को। तो जो ये वर्ड्स है, ये बताता है, एक बहुत स्टेबल देता है कि ऐसी कोई चीज है जो ना आग में जलाई जा सकती है, ना उसको हवा उड़ा सकता है, ना पानी गीला कर सकता है, ना कोई उसको वेपन डिस्ट्रॉय कर सकता है। तो इससे हम कैसे इंस्पायर हो और हम अपने जो हमारा जो बिजनेस वर्ल्ड है उसमें कैसे इसको उतारें। तो सबसे पहला जो सीख है, इससे हमें जो ड्राइव करते हैं वो है, ये है कि हम अपनी जो आइडेंटिटी है वो आउटकम से अलग रखें। मतलब हमारी जो आइडेंटिटी है वो हमारे एक्सटर्नल जो सोर्सेज हैं, जैसे कि मैंने बताया बहुत सारी चीजें हो सकती हैं, उनसे हम अलग हैं। जैसे कि कोई प्रोजेक्ट फेल हो गया, तो जो लीडर है उस प्रोजेक्ट को लीड कर रहा है, वो उसको लगेगा कि यार मेरा तो सब खत्म हो गया, तो पर्सनल डिफीट जैसा लगता है। तो गीता हमें इस चीज का ज्ञान देती है कि पर्सनल डिफीट या पर्सनल विक्ट्री से हम विचलित नहीं होना चाहिए, हमें विचलित नहीं होना चाहिए। और हमारी जो इंटेग्रिटी विजन है वो काफी लॉन्ग टर्म होना चाहिए। तो जो कभी हमारी विक्ट्री होती है, कभी हमारा फेलियर होता है, उससे ना हम बहुत ज्यादा खुश हो और ना हो बहुत ज्यादा दुखी। दूसरा बताया गया है इसके अंदर जो हमें सीख मिलती है वो ये है, मेंटेनिंग इक्विनामिटी। ये हमें बताता है कि हम जो इनर सेल्फ है, जैसे मैंने बताया कि जो हमारा जो इनर जो हमारी पर्सनैलिटी है वो स्टेबल रहना चाहिए, एक स्ट्रेट लाइन पे ही रहना चाहिए, ना ज़्यादा खुश होना चाहिए ना ज़्यादा दुखी होना चाहिए। और उससे क्या होता है कि जब जब हम किसी से विचलित नहीं होते तो हम कोई भी परेशानी जो आती है उसको हम बहुत आराम से और उसको सोच समझ के सूझबूझ के साथ उसको हैंडल कर सकते हैं। और तीसरा इसमें जो सीख मिलती है, अनबर्नेबल माइंडसेट। आपको जो माइंडसेट है जो किसी भी तूफान को झेल सकता है, मतलब बोलते हैं ना इंग्लिश में कि थ्रो एनीथिंग एट मी, तो उस चीज को आप मतलब आप झेल सकते हैं और आपको इसका फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। तो आप कोई कुछ भी आपको इफेक्ट नहीं करता है, इस वजह से आप एक रेजिलिएंट लीडर बन जाते हैं और अपनी कंपनी को, अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को टर्बुलेंट टाइम्स के अंदर अच्छी तरह लीड कर सकते हैं। तो ये सबसे बड़ा जो ऑब्स्टिकल आपको महसूस होगा, ये तीन चीजें हमने सीखी इस श्लोक में, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा जो ऑब्स्टिकल इस श्लोक के से जो निकल के आता है वो है, जो हमें रेजिलिएंट बनने से रोकता है, वो है हमारी ईगो। जो हमारी ईगो है वो हमेशा या तो किसी ना किसी आउटकम से जुड़ी रहती है। जैसे कि हमारे टाइटल्स हैं, हम प्रेसिडेंट हैं, हम वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं, हम सीईओ हैं, हम हेड ऑफ सो एंड सो है। एक ये ईगो हो जाता है। एक हमारा स्टॉक प्राइसेस, कि हमने इतना अच्छा काम किया, हमारी कंपनी का प्राइस बहुत ऊपर जा रहा है, हमारी खुद की रेपुटेशन। तो ये जो वर्ड्स है ये आपको बोलता है कि ईगो अगर आप इसमें लाएंगे तो ये सारी चीजें जैसे फायर, विंड, वेपन्स, ये आपको इफेक्ट करेंगे, मतलब आप रेजिलियंस खो देंगे। तो आपको ईगो बिल्कुल निकाल देनी है, अपने आप को बिल्कुल ग्राउंडेड करना है। और ग्राउंडेड करके गीता आपको ये नहीं बोलता कि आप चले जाइए जंगल में, आपको बोलता है कि आप पहले ग्राउंडेड हो जाइए, बिकम इंडिस्ट्रक्टिबल, और उसके बाद अपने धर्म का पालन करें। आपका धर्म क्या है? आपका धर्म है अपनी कंपनी को, अपने एम्प्लॉयज को, अपने कस्टमर्स को वैल्यू देना। यह आपका धर्म माना जाता है गीता के अनुसार। तो आप अपने रेजिलियंस को बढ़ाएं, एक दीवार की तरह बन जाएं, ना ज्यादा खुश हो ना ज्यादा दुखी, ना कोई आपको विचलित कर सके, ना आपको कोई मार्केट टर्बुलेंट जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन है वो आपको हिला सके, कुछ भी आपको इफेक्ट ना करे। आप बन जाएंगे एग्जीक्यूटिव रेजिलियंस के मसीहा, एक बहुत बड़े स्ट्रांग, मेंटली स्ट्रांग एक लीडर बन जाएंगे। चलिए ये तो बात होगी, अब आप इसको प्रैक्टिस कैसे करें? मतलब एक दिन में तो आप इसको कर नहीं सकते हैं, आपको पूरा अपना जो माइंड है वो चेंज करना पड़ेगा। तो पहली जो सीख है वो है कि आप सुबह मॉर्निंग चेक इन करें। मॉर्निंग चेक इन मतलब कैसे करेंगे कि अगर कोई इंपॉर्टेंट मीटिंग आपकी स्टार्ट होने वाली है तो आप 1 मिनट का समय अपने आप को दें और ये सोचें कि आज किस तरह से मैं हैंडल करूंगा और कैसे मैं अपने आप को ग्राउंडेड रखूंगा, कुछ भी फ्लक्चुएशन होता रहे मार्केट में और आपके बिजनेस में, लेकिन आपका जो लेवल है वो स्टेबल रहना चाहिए। दूसरा, आपको क्या प्रैक्टिस करना है? न्यूट्रल ऑब्जर्वेशन। आप किसी भी क्राइसिस को देखेंगे तो उसको न्यूट्रलिटी से देखेंगे, बायस होके नहीं देखेंगे कि ये मेरा है ये तेरा है, ऐसा करके नहीं देखेंगे। और ये मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, और बहुत तरह की बातें होती हैं, लेकिन आप ऐसा समझ के देखेंगे कि आप जज हैं, जज जूरी, और अपने आप को ऐसे न्यूट्रल पार्टी रख के फिर आप देखेंगे किसी भी इंसिडेंट को, तो आप अच्छा डिसीजन ले पाएंगे। फिर आपको कोई मार्केट फोर्सेस या कुछ इवेंट या फायर, विंड, कोई भी आपको हिला नहीं पाएगी, और आप आराम से सोल्यूशन निकालते हुए, नेविगेट करते हुए प्रॉब्लम से अपने आप को और अपनी कंपनी को बाहर ले जाएंगे। तीसरा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है आउटकम डिटैचमेंट, मतलब कि जो रिजल्ट है उससे आप अटैच ना हो, ये ना कहें कि ये मैंने किया है। राइट? भगवत गीता आपको इस चीज का ज्ञान देती है कि आपका धर्म है, आपका जो एक्शन है आपका धर्म है, तो आपको एक्शन पूरा फुल फ्लेज करना है। लेकिन ये कभी नहीं बोलना है कि ये मैंने एक्शन लिया इस वजह से ऐसा हुआ, क्योंकि ये तो यूनिवर्स देता है आपको। तो आपको अपने एंड रिजल्ट से डिटैच अपने आप को रखना है। एंड जिस तरीके से आप हर वीक आप आगे बढ़ेंगे अपने करियर के अंदर, आपको ये रिमेंबर करना है कि कैसे आपको ये जो अनवेवरिंग स्ट्रेंथ है आपकी आत्मा की, आपकी आपके पर्सनालिटी की, ये कभी भी ढीली नहीं पड़नी चाहिए। और इस वजह से आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आपको देखेगी, आपके जो एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं आपको देखेंगे, दे विल रिकग्नाइज यू एज ए लीडर। और इसकी वजह से ये काफ़ी इम्पॉर्टेंट हो जाता है ये वर्ड्स, क्योंकि इससे काफ़ी सीख मिलती है। तो दोस्तों, आपके कोई भी सवाल हैं तो ज़रूर लिखिए। और मैं अंत में यही बोलूँगा कि आगे बढ़िए क्लैरिटी के साथ और लीड विद योर सेंटर। तो मैं आपसे अगले वीडियो में फिर से मिलता हूँ। तब तक के लिए आपका दिन शुभ हो। नमस्कार।
In 2026, as humanity navigates in an era defined by artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and digital economics, it is striking to realize that most advanced systems will rest upon the foundation laid nearly 1400 years ago by Brahmagupta. His recognition of zero as a number, his rules for negative values, his algebraic formulations are not a relic of antiquity, but living principle embedded in every algorithm, blockchain, and ledger and machine learning model today. When we speak of data science and or when we speak of coding language that drives modern innovations, we are echoing Brahmagupta's vision of mathematics as a universal language, now capable of describing both void and infinite. So, in the world where the billions of calculations occur every second, Brahmagupta's insight actually reminds us that the progress is always built upon the courage of pioneers who dare to redefine the possible.
Hello friends and namaskar. We all know and think that the black holes are just born from dying stars. But friends, think again. This new groundbreaking research from Cardiff University has revealed a startling truth. The universe's largest black holes are built, not born. While we used to think supermassive black holes grew primarily by consuming gas, this new study suggests they reach monster status through a violent process of repeated collisions within a dense star cluster. And therefore, in this video, we dive deep into the science of hierarchical merger, the cosmic assembly line where black holes smash into one and another, growing larger and more powerful with every hit. Let us go and discuss this further. Imagine a monster, not a ghost or a creature from a movie, but a real life titan so heavy it warps the very fabric of space and time. We call them supermassive black holes. For decades, we have asked one simple question: where do they come from? Most of us were taught the birth story. A massive star dies, collapses under its own gravity, and presto, a black hole is born. But there is a problem. Some black holes are so big that being born simply doesn't explain how they got there. New research from Cardiff University has flipped the script. They have discovered that the universe's true giants aren't just born big, they are actually built. Like a skyscraper or a massive machine, they are constructed through a violent, repetitive process of cosmic collisions. Today we are breaking down the built, not born theory and how it's changing everything we thought we knew about dark hearts of these galaxies. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand the Cardiff discovery, we first have to look at the old way of thinking. The traditional model says the black hole grew by eating. Imagine a black hole sitting in the middle of a cloud of gas. It slowly siphons that gas in, grew bit by bit over billions of years, and this is called accretion. But here is the catch. The math doesn't always add up. We have found supermassive black holes in the very early universes as well. If they grew only by eating gas, they wouldn't have had enough time to reach their massive sizes. It's like finding a fully grown oak tree in a forest that's only a week old. It shouldn't be possible. This led scientists to realize there must be another way, a faster, more aggressive way to build a giant. This brings us to the Cardiff University study. Led by a researcher in the School of Physics and Astronomy, the team looked away from the isolated stars and towards the dense star clusters. Imagine a crowded city during rush hour. Now imagine everyone in that city is a black hole. These clusters are the construction sites of the universe. Because everything is packed so tightly together, the gravity starts playing a high stake game of bumper cars. Instead of a single black hole sitting quietly and eating gas, you have dozens, even hundreds of black holes swirling around each other. This is what we call a nuclear star cluster. It is the most extreme environment in a galaxy. It's the perfect factory for building a monster. The Cardiff team used massive computer simulations to track how these black hole interacts. They discovered a process called hierarchical merger. Think of it like a tournament bracket. Round 1. Two small black holes collide and merge into one medium-sized black hole. Round 2. That medium-sized black hole finds another medium one. They merge to become a large one. Round 3. The large one smashes into another even larger ones. So this isn't a birth, this is an assembly line. Every time they collide, they releases a massive ripple in space-time known as the gravitational waves. These ripples are like the sound of the construction work happening. The Cardiff study showed that the build method is incredibly efficient. It allows black hole to skip the slow process of eating gas and jumping straight to supermassive size or status by consuming their own kind. So, why should we care if the black hole is born or built? First, it solves the early universe mystery. If black holes can merge rapidly in these clusters, it explains how they got so big so fast shortly after the Big Bang. Secondly, it tells us where to look. If we want to find the next generation of black hole mergers, we need to point our telescopes like the James Webb or LIGO at these dense crowded star clusters. But there is a darker side to this as well. This build theory suggests that the most powerful objects in the universe are essentially serial mergers. They are made of remains of thousands of smaller stars and black holes that came before them. They are the ultimate scavengers. The universe isn't a static place where things are simply born and stay that way. It's a dynamic, violent, and creative construction zone. And thanks to the team at Cardiff University, we now know that the giants lurking in the dark weren't just lucky enough to be born big. They fought their way and increased their size. They were built collision by collision in the most crowded corners of the space. So next time when you look up at the night sky, remember the biggest things out there are often the one that has survived the most crashes. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the cosmic construction site, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And friends, what do you think is the built not born theory is a final piece of the puzzle? let me know in the comments below. Stay curious and always, always stay glued to the news. And I will see you again in the next one. Before I take your leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Two dawns break across the alien sky, one blazing, one gentle, casting twin shadows that stretch into the unknown. What once lived only in the imagination of storytellers has now stepped into the telescope lens. 27 planet candidates orbiting not one but 2 suns. And these worlds, simmering like echoes of Star Wars Tatooine, are no longer fiction but cosmic invitation. They whisper of future double horizon, and where every sunrise is a duet, and every settlement a testament to our courage to thrive in the extraordinary. So let's find out more about this. Imagine standing on alien soil, the horizon painted not by one dawn, but 2. The first sun rises in a blaze of gold, and the second follows in a softer hue, casting shadow that dance in pair. And this is not the realm of myth or cinema. It is a reality hinted by astronomers who have uncovered 27 planet candidates orbiting binary stars. World of twin sun echoing the dreamscape of Star Wars Tatooine now stepped into the realm of science. For humanity, these discoveries are more than curiosities. They are invitation. Each planet circling 2 suns represent a lab of survival, a crucible where the light, gravity, and the climate conspire in an unfamiliar way. The future of human settlement may well depend on our ability to adapt to such extreme. Binary system challenge our engineering, our biology, and our imagination. How do we build the home where the daylight never truly ends, or where the nights are fractured by competing lunar rhythms? How do the crop grow under 2 suns and their photosynthesis tuned in a spectrum broader than Earth? So these are the questions that are obstacle, and if you feel they're obstacle, that is up to you. But for scientists and somebody who is inclined to new discoveries, these questions are not obstacles, but they are seed of innovation. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine our channel. So, moving forward, the dual suns offer paradoxical gift. On one hand, these gravitational tug of war can destabilize orbits, making climate volatile. On the other hand, their combined energy could sustain habitable zone wider than those around solitary stars. A planet warmed by two suns might host desert of a dazzling brilliance, ocean simmering under perpetual twilights, or forests that evolve pigment unknown to Earth. For settlers, survival would mean harnessing these abundance. Solar array tuned to twin frequencies, agriculture adapted to relentless light, and architecture designed to shield the channel heat. So, but beyond the survival lies culture. Imagine the myth born under binary skies. Children raised to see two dawns as a symbol of resilience. Poet describing love as a dance of twin flames. And scientists charting calendar by rhythm of dual eclipse. So human settlement is not only about biology, it is about meaning. And these words promises meaning in abundance. The discovery of 27 such candidates is a reminder that our galaxy is not uniform. It is diverse, it is unpredictable and generous. Each binary system is a stage where the humanity might rehearse its next act. Colonies under twin suns could become outposts of resilience, teaching us to thrive in the condition once thought to be impossible. They could serve as a way station for a deeper journey, stepping stones and towards galactical citizenship. The future of the settlement among the twin suns is not guaranteed. It is earned. So, it actually will demand technologies that tame chaos, philosophies that embrace duality, and courage that sees opportunities in strangeness. So, yet the history shows that humanity thrives when they're challenged, and from desert to poles, from oceans to orbit, we have always actually turned the unfamiliar into the home. So, and as the telescope unveil these twin sun world, humanity stands at the threshold of possibilities. The double dawn are not just a spectacle of light. They are symbol of resilience, of future where we learn to thrive in the extraordinary. Each of these 27 planets is a reminder that the universe is vast, generous, and waiting. To settle beneath two sun is to embrace duality, to craft a new myth, and to prove that our spirit is as boundless as the sky we seek. The twin horizon rise, and with them the promise of civilization, unafraid to call the impossible as home. So we have come to the end of this information, this video. Look forward for your comments, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the furnace of ancient India, where the sages were scientists and labs were temples of an inquiry, one name glows like a molten gold: Nagarjuna. Not the philosopher of Mahayan fame, but the metallurgist and alchemist whose experiments with mercury, iron, and transmutation blurred the line between mysticism and the material science. Legend places him in a Vidarbha and Satvahana dynasty, working in hidden labs, chasing immortality, while perfecting techniques that still echoes in modern metallurgy. In 2026, as nanotechnology, refined alloys, and imitation jewelry thrives on his ancient method, Nagarjuna's story reminds us that the quest to transform matter is timeless as human spirit itself. So let's find out more. In the annals of Indian science, Nagarjuna stands as a figure both enigmatic and luminous. While the name Nagarjuna is often associated with great Buddhist philosopher of 2nd century CE, another tradition celebrates him as a metallurgist and alchemist of medieval India. The Nagarjuna, remembered in text and oral tradition, was a master of rasayan, the ancient Indian science of alchemy, and a pioneer in the metallurgy whose contribution continues to echo into the 21st century. Born, according to some account, in Vidarbha and later associated with Satvahan dynasty, Nagarjuna is said to have established labs in South India. Archaeological evidence from Nagalwadi in Maharashtra suggests that he conducted experiment in metallurgy and chemistry, working with substances like iron, mercury, and his curiosity was not limited to metals. He sought an elixir of immortality, invisibility, and transformation, blending mystical aspiration with a rigorous experimentation. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward, his most celebrated text is Rasa Ratnakar, is a compilation of chemical knowledge. In it, Nagarjuna discussed the acid, the metals, and the process of purification. He described a method for extracting gold, silver, tin, and copper, and even outlined the distillation techniques. These writings reveal a mind deeply engaged with the material world, yet always linking a chemical process to the spiritual purification. For Nagarjuna, the act of refining metal mirrored the refining or refinement of soul. Impurities must be removed, whether in the matter or in human character. One of his most intriguing contributions was gold shine mechanism. Through experiment, he discovered the ways to transmute the base metal into substance that resemble gold. While not true transmutation, this process produced a gold-like sheen technology that remarkably is still used today in the jewelry industry for imitation of ornament. Thus, a technique born in ancient labs continues to shape the modern aesthetics. Nagarjuna's influence extended beyond the metallurgy. He was also a physician, a yogi, contributing to Ayurveda through texts like Yoga Satak and the Jeev Sutra. His integration of chemistry with medicine enriched Indian medieval traditions, offering insight into the preparation of compound and the treatment. In this way, he embodied the interdisciplinary spirit, a scientist, a healer, a philosopher, rolled into one. In 2026, his legacy feels strikingly modern. His principle of articulated systematic experimentation, purification, and transformation resonate with the contemporary chemistry and the material science. His vision of linking matter and spirit anticipates today's holistic approach, where the science and philosophy are not seen as an opposite but as a contemporary path of understanding. Moreover, his experiment in distillation and metallurgy remind us that India's scientific heritage is not peripheral but central to the global history of science. Nagarjuna, the metallurgist, thus emerged as a bridge builder between philosophy and chemistry, between ancient aspiration and modern technologies. His labs may have been simple by today's standards, but his imagination was vast, reaching for the immortality and the cosmic truth, while the grounding itself in the practical art of working with the metals. In honoring him, we recognize not only as a pioneer of Indian alchemy, but also a timeless symbol of human curiosity, the drive to transform, to refine, and to discover. Nagarjuna's alchemy was more than a pursuit of gold. It was a pursuit of knowledge itself. In 2026, as we refine materials at nanoscale, explore new alloy for space exploration, we walk a path he helped to lay centuries ago, providing the fire of inquiry he kindled still that inquiry which he kindled that still actually burns within us in 2026. We have come to the end. Please like and subscribe this channel. Look forward for your comments. But before we end, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Not just a political decision, it was a human catastrophe. Much like civilians of Iran who now find themselves uprooted. Millions in the subcontinent were forced to abandon their homes, lands, and identities, that too overnight. Both movements, separated by decades and geography, speaks to the enduring tragedy for how political decision and power struggle can fracture the societies and leaving ordinary people to bear the heaviest burden. So the year 1947 stands as one of the most defining moments in South Asian history. It was the year when the India gained independence from British colonial rule, but it also the year when the subcontinent was violently divided into two nations, India and Pakistan. This partition was not merely a political act of drawing borders. It was a human tragedy of an unimaginable scale. So today we are actually, as the new documentaries revisit this chapter, they bring fresh voice and forgotten stories, reminding us that the echoes of 1947 still actually there in the hearts, in the mind, across the generations. Partition uprooted nearly 15 million people, making it one of the largest forced migration in human history. Families who had lived side by side for centuries suddenly found themselves on the opposite side of hastily drawn borders. Villages were split, friendships were dissolved, and the communities tore apart. The documentaries highlights not just the statistics, but the lived experience, like the grandmother who carries her infants across the burning field, the young man who lost his entire family on a train to Lahore, the child who never understood why neighbors turn into enemies overnight. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. So going forward on this topic, so the violence was actually staggering. Estimation actually suggests that up to 1 million lives were lost in communal riots, massacres, and retaliatory killing. The documentaries do not shy away from these horrors. They show how train arrived at station filled not with the passenger but the corpses, and they recount how women bore the burns of violence, subjected to abductions and assault, and their suffering often silenced in official narratives. By revisiting these stories, filmmakers are not only documenting history but also challenging the silence that has long surrounded these wounds. Yet, in the amid of this devastation, there are also stories of extraordinary humanity, like Hindu and Muslim Sikhs who risk their lives to protect neighbors of another faith, ordinary villagers who formed a human chain to shield women and children. And these acts of compassion remind us that the partition was not only about division, it is also about resilience, courage, and stubborn persistence of hope. The documentaries also explore the political dimensions of partition. They revisit the hurried negotiation between leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and the Lord Mountbatten. And they questions whether the division was inevitable or whether it was a product of colonial haste and political miscalculations. So they also highlight how these border line drawn in just 5 weeks, carved through the homes, rivers, and field, with a little regard for human consequences. In doing so, they invite viewers to reflect on the long shadow of colonialism and the kind of fragility of nation building. So as we close this retelling of 1947, it is impossible not to see the parallel with the conflict unfolding in Iran today. Just as the partition tore apart the families and villages and villagers and centuries of coexistence, the war in Iran are displacing communities, fracturing identities, and leaving scars that will echo for the generation. The lesson of partition is not confined to South Asia. It is universal reminder of how political decision drawn hastily or imposed violently can unravel the fabric of the society. The borders carved in 1947 create wounds that still shape India and Pakistan. In Iran, the battle of today are shaping future in the way that will remembered decades from now. So by revisiting partition, we are also not only honoring the memories of those who suffered, but also urging ourselves to recognize the human cost of division, whether it occurs whatever and wherever it occurs. The echoes of 1947 remind us that the history is not a distinct past. It is a living force reflecting in the struggles of people across the world. If we listen closely, the cries of displaced family in Iran today carries the same resonance as those who fled across this border line, which was created by political decision in 1947. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of this retelling is their focus on memories and identity. Partition was not just a historical event. It becomes a defining marker of identity for millions. So for those who cross the borders, the trauma was carried into their children and the grandchildren. Even today in India and Pakistan, partition shapes the politics, culture, and collective memory. The documentaries capture this intergenerational transmission of trauma, showing how the past refused to remain buried. So ultimately, the echoes of 1947, when we are talking about this, the India's partition retold is not just about the revisiting the part. It is also listening to the voices that were silenced, acknowledging the pain that was ignored, and the recognition of humanity that endured against all odds. It is a call to remember, not to reopen the wound, but to ensure that such tragedies are never repeated. The echoes of 1947 remind us that the history is not distinct, it is living within us, shaping who we are and how we imagine our future. And also, the retelling of partition is more than remembrance. It's also a call to empathy, to to be vigilant, and to ensure that the tragedies of the yesterday do not become inevitable for tomorrow. So please send us your comments, subscribe to our channel for more insights in Indian spirituality and politics and the history and of course the mythology. So see you in the next one.
Hello friends, let me ask you, can the ancient wisdom solve the modern leadership crisis? In this video, we dive deep into Bhagavad Gita. And friends, as you know, Bhagavad Gita is 7,000-year-old manuscript, and some of the teachings in Bhagavad Gita can be directly related to the modern day CEOs and entrepreneurs. While the corporate world focuses on the external ROIs, the Gita points towards the ultimate ROI, which is transitioning from material containment to absolute clarity. Let us discuss this further. In the corner office of any major corporation, the metrics are always the same, which is EBITDA, market share, quarterly growth, and the shareholder value. We call this the return on investment. But there is a hidden tax being paid every single day that doesn't show up on a balance sheet. It is a tax of the cluttered mind. Think about your last major decision. Was it made with 100% clarity, or was it colored by the fatigue of the previous meetings, anxiety of fluctuating markets, or perhaps the flicker of ego? Most leaders operate in a state of what the Bhagavad Gita calls material contamination. In modern terms, we call it cognitive noise. Today, we are going to take a look at 7,000-year-old formula that offers a different kind of ROI. We are looking at chapter 6, verse 28 of Bhagavad Gita. It is a verse that promises not just success, but the ultimate happiness, and for a CEO, that might be most strategic advantage you can possess. Alright, so friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching our live stream. Alright, let's move ahead. Let's look at the verse itself. And the verse says, quote starts, the yogic practice free from material contamination, and by connecting with the divine, he reaches the ultimate happiness. Quote close. Alright, so this, this sounds like something like a yogic practice for a busy executive, and divine might sound like they are being asked to go to a mountain retreat and not to a boardroom. But let's translate this into the language of leadership. The verse identify three distinct stages. First, the process, a yogic practice which require consistent mental discipline. Number two, the result, the freedom from contamination, which is removal of all biases and noise. 3. The goal, the ultimate happiness, which is a state of peak performance and flow. And therefore, for a CEO, this is something which is not just spiritual. It is a blueprint of the operational, operational side of your activities, right? Don't you think so? All right. So this is going to also, improve your excellence in yourself. What does the Gita mean by contamination in the context of 21st century company? Contamination is anything that obscure your true vision in the boardroom. This looks like ego trap. And there are several things attached to the ego trap. First is making decision to win an argument rather than to serve the company's mission. Second is analysis paralysis, being so bogged down by data that you lose your intuitiveness, gut feeling, etc. Third is the emotional residue, carrying the frustration of a failed merger into your dinner with your family, or worse, into your next strategic session. When a CEO is contaminated, they are reactive. When you are reactive, you are predictable. And in business, being predictable is a liability. The Gita suggests that through yogic practice, which can be defined as structured meditation, mindfulness, and radical self-awareness, we begin to filter this contamination. Imagine your mind as a lens. Over years of high-stress leadership, that lens gets covered in dust. This verse is about daily habit of wiping the lens clean. The verse mentioned, contact with divine, etc. The word of high performance, we have a different word for this, which is flow. And it is that state where the self vanishes, the time slows down, and you execute with effortless precision. But there is a deeper layer here. For a CEO, connecting with the divine can be interpreted as connecting with the highest purpose. When a leader is connected to a purpose greater than their own paycheck or their own reputation, something shifts. This connection provides a steady anchor, And if the market crashes, the anchor holds. If the media attacks, the anchor holds. Why? Because your sense of ultimate happiness is no longer tied to the external material world. It is, it is sourced from an internal connection to the truth. This is the ultimate ROI. And if you cannot be shaken by external volatility, you become most stable point in your organization. Everyone else will look towards you to see how you react. If you are connected to that inner clarity, your organization stays calm. So how does a CEO actually do this? We don't expect you to move the Himalayas. The Gita was spoken on a battlefield, not a yoga studio. It is a manual for the people in the thick of fight. Certain things you can do, something like you can actually plan your stillness. Treat your meditation or reflection time like a board meeting. You wouldn't skip a meeting with your top investor. Don't skip the meeting with your inner self. This is where the cleaning happens. The contamination check is the second step. Before every major meeting, ask yourself, is there a contamination within you? Am I angry? Am I seeking validation? Identify the noise and it loses its power over you. Leading from sukha, which is happiness, most leaders believe happiness comes after the success. Verse 28 flips that script. It says the practice lead to happiness, and happiness is the foundation for everything else. Lead from a place of fulfillment, and your decisions will be more sustainable and ethical. We live in an era of a hyper contamination, information overload, social media pressures, and relentless pace of AI are making clarity harder to find than ever before, right? The CEO of the future is not the one with the most data. It is the one with the cleanest lens. By practicing the principle of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 28, you aren't just becoming a better spiritual person. You are becoming more effective, more resilient, and more visionary leader. You are trading the temporary high of material gains for the ultimate happiness and for a clear mind. This is the ultimate ROI, and we have come to the end of our discussion today. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for listening. Now, go back to your desk, take a deep breath, and remove contamination from your mind. Lead with clarity. So friends, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before I move on to the next topic, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Rishi Kashyap, the eternal sage of Sanatan Dharma, stands as the architect of diversity itself. His legacy woven into the very fabric of existence. Kashyap's achievement was cosmic, unbounded by geography or time. His empire was not of conquest but of coexistence. A vision so vast and unconquerable that even in 2026, it challenges us to see universality as the greatest triumph of all. His contribution is not limited to progenitor of civilization, but his Kashyap Samhita, also called as Vridha Jivika Tantra, is a classic text on pediatrics, gynecology and obstetrics, still studies in Ayurveda today. Kashyap is also credited with contribution to Kashyap music and Shilpa Shastra, that is art and architecture, showing his influence beyond spiritual philosophy. So let's find out more about him. Rishi Kashyap, one of the greatest Saptarishi, is remembered not only as a sage but a progenitor of civilization, a figure whose vision encompassed the very diversity of the creation. His legacy is vast. Through his union, and Kashyap is said to have fathered myriad beings like human, animals, birds, and celestial entities. This mythic narrative is more than ancestry. It is a profound metaphor for interconnectedness, teaching all that all existence is a part of a single cosmic order. In 2026, when the humanity confronts ecological crisis, erosion of biodiversity, Kashyap's vision feels like a timeless call to honor diversity as sacred. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward on this topic, Rishi Kashyap's philosophy integrated dharma with natural order, that is righteousness with the natural order, urging harmony between human conduct and the rhythm of cosmos. This resonates today in a sustainability movement where the ethics and science converge to guide responsible living. And at the same time, Kashyap's worldview insists that the progress must align with the balance, that the innovation must serve the natural order. And his legacy also bridged myth and governance as dynasties traced through the lineage to him, grounding authority in values of stewardship and the continuity. So in our era of contested leadership and fractured identities, the Kashyap's example reminds us that the true governance rests on responsibility towards all being. Yet Kashyap's unconquerable achievement lies in his vision of universality. By fathering diverse lineage, he symbolized unity through multiplicity. This echoes in 2026, a globalized digital world where the pluralism is strength and the interconnectedness is destiny. His philosophy challenges us to weave difference into shared narratives of coexistence, much as he wove creation into a single cosmic order. Kashyap, traditionally associated with northern western part of India subcontinent, so Indian subcontinent, the very name Kashmir, which is a state of India, believed to derive from him. Legend says Kashyap drained the ancient lake Satisar to make the valley habitable, giving rise to region's name Kashyap Mir, that is lake of Kashyap, eventually now we call it Kashmir, or Kashyap Meru, that is mountain of Kashyap. So it is here that one must certainly mirror the spirit of Genghis Khan of Mongolia. Centuries later, embodied the relentless drive to unify vast territories under single vision. His empire stretched across continents, reshaping trade, culture, and governance. Kashyap's achievement, though born of creation rather than conquest, is monumental. Where the Khan's empire was bounded by geography and time, Kashyap's was cosmic, eternal, and unconquerable. In 2026, as humanity seeks to reconcile power with wisdom, Kashyap's achievement stands as the greatest triumph, the creation of diversity itself, the binding of existence into one living continuum. Thus, Kashyap's contribution to the world is not confined to myth or ancestry. It is philosophy of balance, diversity, and responsibility. His voice echoes across millennia, reminding us that the creation is sacred. Diversity is strength, and the harmony with nature is the highest dharma, that is righteousness. In 2026, his legacy challenges us to honor the interconnectedness woven into of life, or maybe a web of life, to embrace pluralism as power and recognize that the greatest empire is not the one of conquest but coexistence. Rishi Kashyap's legacy is not a tale locked in the past, but a living philosophy that continues to shape the present. So his unconquerable achievement was the creation of universality itself, an empire of coexistence that transcends boundaries of time and geography. His presence is linked to Himalayas and surrounding region, embedding him into the spiritual landscape of northern India. He is a global impact even today. So Kashyap's vision unified existence through creation, weaving together human, animal, celestial being into one cosmic continuum. In 2026, as humanity stands at the crossroad of technological acceleration and ecological fragility, Kashyap's voice resounds with clarity that the greatest triumph is not the domination but harmony, not the conquest but coexistence. So his empire endured not in maps or monuments, but in the living diversity of the world. A reminder that the most powerful legacy is one that sustains life itself. So beyond being the father of creation, he is remembered as the sage whose influence shaped both land and lineage. In 2026, his unconquerable achievement reminds us that the greatest empire is not one of the domination but of diversity and harmony, an eternal continuum where the coexistence itself is the crown jewel of civilization. So we have come to the end of this topic. We like your comments on this topic. If you want to add something on the profile of Kashyap, the great sage of India, please also like and subscribe our channel, and I look forward definitely your comment, and see you in the next one. So take care. Bye bye.
Hello friends and namaskaram. It is officially happening now. After months of intense speculation, Space has filed its S1 prospectus with the SEC, setting the stage for what is projected to be the largest initial public offering, which is also known as IPO, in the history of mankind. With a target valuation of up to 1.75 trillion, Elon Musk's space giant is ready to hit the Nasdaq under the ticker symbol SPCX. In this video, therefore, we break down everything you need to know about the upcoming SpaceX IPO, including the critical dates you need to mark on your calendar and how retail investors can potentially participate. Let's go. For years, it was just a rumor, a what if conversation on the message boards. But today, the conversation is over. SpaceX has finally filed its S1 prospectus with the SEC, and we are witnessing what is arguably the most significant capital market event of the decade. We're talking about a company that has already changed the physics of rockets and space travel, now aiming for a 1.75 trillion valuation on the Nasdaq. I'm talking about the SpaceX IPO, and the ticker symbol is SPCX. And this is expected to hit the market as early as June 12th, 2026. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. For a long time, Elon Musk was adamant SpaceX would stay private until we had a stable, functioning Mars colony. So what changed? The scale of ambition. Basically, SpaceX isn't just launching rockets anymore. It's an integrated powerhouse. Following the merger with xAI, the company is positioning itself as the backbone of space-based AI infrastructure. With a planned roadshow kicking off around June 4th, the company is looking to raise up to 75 billion to fuel its next phase of growth. So when you buy SPCX on the Nasdaq market, you aren't just buying rockets, you are buying a massive interconnected portfolio. What this portfolio contains? First, the Starlink, which is the crown jewel. It's profitable and currently drive massive chunk of company's revenue. Next, launch services, dominating the global market with securing crucial government and defense contract. Basically, if anybody has to send their spacecraft or satellite to space, SpaceX is one of the best viable option. Third is the Starship itself, the key to lowering cost and enabling future Moon and Mars mission. Therefore, Starship is a major product line from SpaceX. And lastly, the xAI integration, adding a layer of artificial intelligence that aims to build data centers in space. It isn't all smooth sailing. There is significant controversy regarding the governance structure. Reports indicate a dual class share structure where Class B shares, mostly held by Musk and the insiders, carry 10 votes per share, while the public Class A shares carry only 1 vote. The institutional investors have already voiced concerns about this level of concentration, noting that Musk will retain roughly 79% of the voting power. Add in the challenge of Musk juggling Tesla, X, Neuralink, and xAI, and you have some serious questions about where his focus truly lies. If you are a retail investor, this is what you have been waiting for. With the Nasdaq listing, direct exposure to the space economy is finally within reach. However, proceed with caution. IPOs, especially one with much hype, are notoriously volatile. Analysts are warning that you should look past the Musk factor and dive deep into the financials. Are you paying for the current reality, or are you paying for the next 20 years of projected growth? I mean, that's a very important question that every investor must contemplate. The countdown is officially on. Whether this becomes the IPO of the century or the cautionary tale, one thing is certain: the way we view the space, data, and the stock market is about to change forever. Keep an eye on the June 12th date. And as always, do your own due diligence before jumping into the stratosphere. My name is CK, and I will see you very soon in the next deep dive. Before I go today, however, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है। और हर रोज की तरह हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे तो भगवान की पूजा करेंगे। और आज शनिवार है, तो आपको सबको पता होगा, ज्ञात होगा कि जो शनिवार का जो दिन है वो शनि भगवान के लिए सुरक्षित किया गया है, उनके ऊपर समर्पित है। और आप सब जानते होंगे कि जो शनि भगवान है वो कार्य के देवता है, मतलब आप जितना कर्म करेंगे उतने ज्यादा वो आपको फल देते हैं। तो आज शनिवार है, तो आज हम भगवान की प्रार्थना करते हैं, भगवान की स्तुति करते हैं। हर रोज की तरह हम 11 दफा एक मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे जो शनि भगवान की पूजा के हेतु है। और रोज की तरह हम इस काउंटर को यूज करेंगे। इसमें देख सकते हैं, इसमें नंबर है, तो हमें आसानी होती है कितने बार हो गया ये हमें पता चल जाता है। तो ठीक है, आप जैसा भी करना चाहें, आप माला का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं या अपने फिंगर टिप्स का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, नो प्रॉब्लम। लेकिन 11 दफा करना है। आप हमारे साथ जुड़ें और हमारे साथ इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करें। इससे शनि भगवान काफी खुश होते हैं। और ध्यान रहे कि शनि भगवान जो हैं ये काफी मतलब बहुत ही कर्म के वो हैं, स्वामी हैं। तो अपने कर्म को आप ठीक रखें, इसका भी ध्यान रखें। तो चलिए हम हाथ जोड़ के नमन करते हैं और भगवान शनिदेव का ध्यान शुरू करते हैं। ओम शन शनिश्चराय नमः। ओम शन शनिश्चराय नमः। ओम शन शनिश्चराय नमः। ओम शन शनिश्चराय नमः। ओम शनिश्चराय नमः। ओम शन 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 शनिश्चराय नमः। तो इसके साथ हमारी आज की पूजा समाप्त हुई। बस अभी थोड़ी देर में दोबारा मिलते हैं दूसरे वीडियो में। तब तक के लिए आपका दिन शुभ रहे और मंगलमय रहे। नमस्कार। Let me ask you, why do highly successful CEOs suddenly burn out, lose their grip, or watch their corporate empire crumble? The answer isn't found in a modern business textbook. It was written thousands of years ago in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, in this video, we break down Bhagavad Gita and translate its profound wisdom into survival guide for the modern executive. Let's go. What is the ultimate destination for a highly successful CEO? Very profound question, but very difficult to answer. If you look at the tech world, Wall Street or startup ecosystem, the playbook says exponential growth, massive exits, and legacy carved in stone, and ultimate control. But look at all this a little closer at the corporate history. Why do some of the most brilliant minds, leaders who build empires suddenly burn out? Why do they make catastrophic ethical lapses? Why do they watch their organizations crumble from within? Most businesses and training institutes and schools will tell you it's a failure of a strategy, a shift in the market dynamics, or a poor risk management. But thousands of years ago, a profound spiritual text diagnosed the true cause of this corporate collapse. It is not the failure of strategy, it is a failure of identity. Today, we are diving deep into Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 24. We are going to look past the religious context and uncover a brutal, timeless, psychological warning that every modern founder, executive, and leaders need to hear before it's too late. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Those who do not understand that I am the real enjoyer and the supreme lord of each and every sacrifice, they fall down and remain in the cycle of life and death. And the quote close. Let's unpack this because, to a modern executive, words like sacrifice and lord sound detached from Q4 KPIs and the boardroom meetings. But if we translate the core metaphysics into leadership psychology, the wisdom is startling. In Gita, sacrifice, which is in other words yagna, represents collective effort, hard work, dedicated action towards a goal. In your company, the sacrifice is the late night your engineers pull, and the capital your investor risk, and the daily grind of your sales team. The verse states there is a real enjoyer, a supreme purpose, a greater collective good, a universal force. But here is a pitfall. The verse warns that those who do not recognize this truth, those who believe they are the ultimate owner and the sole enjoyer of all these collective efforts, will inevitably fall down. This brings us to the ego trap. When an entrepreneur starts a company, they are driven by a vision. They sacrifice their comfort, their sleep, and their time. But as the company grows and success pours in, a subtle shift happens in leaders' psychology. The ego takes over. The CEO begins to think, I built this. This $1 billion valuation is because of my genius. The employees are sacrificing their time so that I can enjoy the profit and the fame. They declare themselves the real enjoyer. When the leader makes this mental shift, they detach themselves from the reality. They become obsessed with the fruits of the labor rather than the quality of the work, and this is what the Gita calls attachment to the result. Look at the corporate giants of the last few decades who fell from the grace, from Enron to spectacular crashes of certain modern tech unicorns. It's almost never a lack of intelligence. It is always their hubris. The leader begin to believe they are above the rules, above the ecosystem, and completely responsible for the sun rising and setting on their industry. And just as the verse warns, they plummet. The second part of the verse says that because they don't understand this truth, they remain in the cycle of life and death. In a corporate context, this is the exhausting, endless cycle of cyclic failure and burnout. When you believe you are the sole enjoyer and bearer of the company's burden, you carry an unsustainable weight. Every market dip feels like a personal attack. Every failed product feels like an existential crisis. You find yourself trapped in a loop. You chase temporary success. You achieve milestones and your ego inflates. Because your ego is inflated, you make a blind, arrogant decision. The business takes a hit, leading to loss of purpose and intense anxiety. You scramble frantically to fix it, restarting the cycle, etc. This is the corporate, sansar or the world, the cycle of the professional life and death. You are constantly fighting to protect your self image rather than steering the ship. You aren't building a legacy, you are running an emotional treadmill fueled by fear and pride. So, what is the antidote here? How does the modern CEO applies chapter 9 and verse 24 to find sustainable success? The secret lies in moving from ownership mind to a stewardship mindset. In the visual rendering of this lesson, I mean, if you start imagining, uh, you know, uh, the act as a steward, your relationship with the company changes. First, the burden lifts. If you are not the ultimate owner of the result, you no longer carry the paralyzing fear of the failure. You focus purely on the execution, the karma, and leave the outcome to the market, the universe, or the collective ecosystem. Second, your team thrives. True sustainable leadership happens when a CEO realizes they are there to serve the vision and not the other way around. Employees can sense when a leader wants all the credit. Conversely, they will run through brick walls for a leader who shares the triumph and views the company's success as a collective sacrifice. You shift from saying, "Look what I made," to "Look what I have been trusted to guide." So, next time when you look at your company's quarterly metrics, your rising valuation, or even your personal achievement, take a step back. Remember the warning of Gita 9.24. Do not fall into the trap of thinking you are the ultimate master of the universe. Recognize the immense sacrifices of your employees, your customers, and the ecosystem supporting you. Dedicated your corporate efforts to cause higher than your own bank account or your personal ego. When you shift from being a self-proclaimed leader of your empire to the humble steward of your vision, you don't just avoid the ultimate CEO pitfall, you unlock a deeper level of clarity, resilience, and sustainable success that no market crash can ever take away from you. So, friends, thanks for joining live. Thanks for watching. If this ancient perspective on the modern business resonate with you, hit the like button, share this with your fellow leaders, and subscribe for more deep dives into timeless wisdom for the modern business world. Lead with humility, focus on the effort, and let go of the ego. So friends, I will see you in the next video. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskaram. Could we actually hack Earth's magnetic field to protect our own modern technology? Very profound question. Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary and controversial new proposal from the scientist deploying spacecraft to spray chemicals directly into the Earth's magnetosphere. As our reliance on satellite and power grids and GPS grows, so does our vulnerability to external solar storms. Could a man-made solar shield be the key to preventing a global blackout? Let's discuss this further. Imagine you're living in a world where everything just stops. No GPS to guide your travel, no internet to connect your PCs, no power grid to keep your lights on. It sounds like the plot of a disaster movie, but it's a very real threat looming 93 million miles away on the surface of the sun. We have spent decades getting better at predicting space weather, acting like people in village watching a river rise, hoping we can warn everyone before the flood hits. But what if we didn't just watch? What if we could actually build a wall to stop the water? Today we're looking at a bold new proposal from scientists, a storm wall designed to actively hack Earth's magnetic field. Can we really engineer our way out of a solar storm, a massive one? To understand why we need a solar shield, we have to understand our current defenses. The magnetosphere. It's a vast invisible bubble around our planet that deflects the sun's charged particles away from Earth. Usually, it does a great job, but it is not impenetrable. The danger comes when the sun releases a massive eruption known as the coronal mass ejection, or CME. When this cloud of magnetic energy hits Earth, it can trigger a process called magnetic reconnection. Think of it like a shortcut. When the solar magnetic field align just right with our own, it rips a hole in the shield. This allows solar energy to flood into our near Earth space, causing geomagnetic storms. Why should you care about this? Because our modern world is fragile. We have seen these storms fry satellites, disrupt radio signals, and surge power grids with enough voltage to cause massive blackouts. In May 2024, a major storm hit, causing hundreds of millions of dollars in losses for the agriculture industry alone when the GPS guided tractors could not function. As our tech dependency grows, our vulnerability to these invaders from space only get worse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's move forward. So how do we fix this issue? A team led by Brian Walsh from Boston University has proposed a concept called storm wall. If you can't make the shield stronger, why not give it an airbag? The idea is to launch a fleet of 6 spacecraft into specific orbits. These ships would carry payloads of alkaline chemicals like barium or lithium, which they could spray into the magnetosphere. When these chemicals are released, the photoionized, they actually become photoionized, creating a cloud of artificial plasma. This plasma would essentially thicken the boundary between us and the solar wind. By adding this mass to the critical frontier of magnetosphere, the storm wall would disrupt the energy flow of incoming storms. It forces the space weather bounce back around and past our planet instead of punching through. Computer simulation suggests this could reduce the intensity of the geomagnetic storm by more than 50%. It's not about stopping the sun. It's about turning a catastrophic hit into a glancing blow. Now, before we go spraying chemicals into space, we have to talk about the but part of it. And there are several buts here. First, the cost. We are talking about launching 6 spacecrafts, each carrying material equivalent to roughly 12 oil trucks. It's a one and done solution. Once the chemicals are sprayed, the system essentially spends it. It's incredibly expensive, and then there is ethical and environmental questions about geoengineering. While the researchers argue that the risk of contamination is very low since the plasma gets swept away by the solar wind within about 6 hours, Any attempt to hack the planetary system comes with a lot of uncertainty. We have to ask, what are the unintended consequences of messing with our magnetic field? Any project of this scale would require massive international cooperations, oversight, and transparency. Is the storm wall the future of space defenses? Maybe. As we pour money into orbital infrastructure and space based data centers, the financial math, as the researchers put it, might start to make sense. The reality is that if we build this, it wouldn't just protect our one country or one group of satellites, it would serve as a collective shield for the entire planet. We are becoming a space-faring civilization, which means we have to start acting like one. Whether or not we use space airbags, we have to find better ways to live within the volatile star we orbit. So friends, what do you think? Should we be experimenting with our planet's magnetic field, or is it the risk too high? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and stay curious. I will catch you again in the next one.
Hello friends and namaskaram. A different kind of space race for India is heating up. While Elon Musk Starlink has been navigating a maze of Indian regulatory clearances, Mr. Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Jio has just dropped a bombshell. Reliance is reportedly eyeing a multi-billion-dollar entry into low Earth orbit (LEO), and that is a satellite market, if you don't know. And he is aiming to build a homegrown rival that could change the face of Indian internet forever. In this video, we break down the high-stake battle between the world's richest man and the India's biggest telecom partner. Let's go. Imagine a world where the most remote village in the Himalayas has the same internet speed as a penthouse in Mumbai. That world is coming. But it is not coming through cables, it is coming from the space. Welcome to the ultimate showdown of 2026, Reliance versus Starlink. This isn't just a business deal, it's a battle for India's digital sovereignty. For years, India has been the land of telecom wars. We saw 4G price plummet when Jio entered the market in 2016. But as of May 2026, terrestrial towers have hit a limit. While 99.6% of Indian districts have 5G coverage, there are still millions in shadow zones where fiber can't reach. And the price is definitely very big. A satellite communication market projected to reach 3.77 billion this year, growing at a staggering 16% CAGR. This is why Elon Musk and Mukesh Ambani are locking horns. One wants to bring this global network to India. The other wants to build a Desi constellation to protect India's interest. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's talk about Elon Musk. Starlink is already a global powerhouse operating in over 100 countries. In India, Starlink has been chasing a launch since late 2022. So what's holding it up? As of today, May 6, 2026, Starlink is cleared for orbit but stuck in the tarmac. Although they have received a global mobile personal communication by satellite GMPCS license in June 2025, they are currently in security limbo. What are these hurdles? So first is the security hurdle. The Indian government has a very high standards. They require separate security clearance for every satellite gateway, and localization of facilities for lawful interception. Next is the FDI logjam. Starlink's foreign direct investment proposal is still pending with the Department of Space. Third is the cost. While the Geo is known for being cheap, Starlink global hardware kit costs between $250 to $380, roughly about 21,000 to 31,000 rupees in Indian currency, with monthly fee potentially reaching 3,000 rupees. Can Musk drop the price low enough for the Indian mass market? That's a very big question at this point in time. Enter Mr. Mukesh Ambani. For a while, Reliance was working with SES on a medium Earth orbit (MEO) system called Geospace Fiber. But as of yesterday, May 6, 2026, the strategy has shifted dramatically. Reliance is now eyeing a multi-billion-dollar entry into LEO, low Earth orbit segment. And the war is now being fought at the war footing levels. Report indicates Reliance has formed 6 dedicated teams to work on the satellites, payload, launches, and the user terminals. The acquisition strategy is also being worked out. Ambani isn't just building from scratch. Reliance is reportedly looking to acquire an existing satellite entity that already has orbital slots and infrastructure to speed up the launch. And lastly, the sovereignty argument. Reliance is positioning this as a national security move. Having a made in India LEO constellation reduce dependency on the foreign entities, a critical factor given the global geopolitical climate at this point in time. So why the sudden pivot to LEO? Well, there are various advantages. First is the latency. The traditional satellite, which is MEO or GEO, are quite far away. They are further away. LEO satellites are closer to Earth, meaning lower latency. Perfect for 300 million Indian 5G users who want to game or video call without a lag. Next is the direct to device. In 2026 is the year which will be known for direct to device tech. Imagine your phone connected to a satellite automatically when you lose cell signal. Starlink and Geo are both racing to perfect this. Third is the spectrum battle. There is a massive debate over the spectrum pricing. The DOT is favoring a 5% charge on adjusting gross revenue, while Starlink is pushing for lower costs to make service viable in India. So who takes the crown now? Starlink has proven tech and the global fleet. Reliance Jio has home court advantage, regulatory favor and history of disrupting market with aggressive pricing. But don't forget the dark horse. Airtel's UTL set, OneBev and Amazon's project Kuiper are also in the wings, waiting for their share of 3.77 billion pie, which is just the Indian market. The winner won't just be one with the most satellite, it will be the one who can convince the Indian consumer to switch from their rupees 500 fiber plan to satellite dish. So friends, what do you think? Are you team Jio or team Starlink? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of the telecom, tech and other business issues. I'm CK and I will see you in the next one. Before I go, I would like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with
tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the age of antibiotic resistance, where the once curable infection now defies machine's best weapon, a new hero emerges, not from the pharmacy, but from the world of nanotechnology. Imagine a sheet so thin it's only 1 atom thick, yet sharper than any blade nature has ever forged. This is a graphene oxide, a carbon lattice that slices through the deadly bacteria while leaving human cells untouched. It does not just fight superbug, it rewrites the rule of survival, turning physics into medicine and proving that sometimes the smallest structure can wage the bigger wars.
Long before the telescope pierced the skies of Renaissance Europe, a brilliant mind in 5th century India dared to challenge the cosmic order. And Aryabhat, through his Aryabhatiya, that suggested that the earth itself was not a still center of the universe, but a rotating sphere and its motion explaining the dance of stars and the cosmos. In doing so, he planted the seed of heliocentrism nearly 1,000 years before Copernicus. So in 2026, as humanity propose an interplanetary mission and debates on the ethics of AI, design, science, and Aryabhat vision feels startlingly modern. What do you feel about that? Now, going forward, his courage to question orthodoxy mirror our own struggles to redefine boundaries, whether in space exploration or in digital knowledge or in global collaboration. What he offered was not just astronomy, but a philosophical revolution. A reminder that Earth is but one participant in the vast cosmic symphony.
So, in the year 499 CE, a young mathematician and astronomer from India named Aryabhat composed Aryabhatiya, a text that would ripple across the centuries. And within its verses lay a daring proposition. The earth was not the immovable center of the universe, but a rotating sphere where it also it's explained, the rotating sphere which explains the rising and settling the star. This insight subtle but yet it was really profound at that point of time, and it also hinted at a heliocentric order, placing the sun at the center of the planetary motion, and nearly thousands years before Copernicus formalized the idea in Renaissance Europe. So Aryabhat's vision was revolutionary because it challenged the prevailing geocentric worldwide. And in both Greece and Roman and even in Indian traditions, Earth was thought to be fixed with celestial bodies revolving around it. Aryabhat broke from this orthodoxy, suggesting that the apparent daily movement of heavens was due to Earth's own rotation. Though his heliocentric leanings were not expressed in the same systematic way as Copernicus, but definitely the seeds of the ideas were unmistakable. So if you have reached this far, please inform us about your city and from where you are tuned in, and in which language you are watching this video, and this will definitely determine the reach of our channel. So look forward. And in 2026, the Aryabhat's heliocentric vision resonates in a striking way. Humanity is once again at a crossroad of knowledge, driven not only by a handwritten actually, manuscript, but also about artificial intelligence, global collaboration. And just as Aryabhat challenged the obvious questions, Earth's immobility, today scientists and technologists challenges assumptions about the creativity, about ethics, and the boundaries of machine intelligence. His legacy also speaks to the decolonization of science. For centuries, the narrative of heliocentrism was framed as a European breakthrough. Yet, Aryabhat reminds us that scientific progress has always been global, with the contributors flowing across the cultures and continents. In an era where the India's ISRO launches a mission to Mars and to the moon, reclaiming Aryabhat's place in history is not just about, and it is definitely not just about the pride. It is also about recognizing the shared heritage of human curiosity. So Aryabhat's genius lay not only in his astronomical imagination, but in his mathematical rigor. He introduced trigonometric functions approximately and really very to the point, actually studying and presenting pi with a remarkable accuracy, and devised the method for calculating planetary positions. His equation implied a solar-centric system where the planetary motion could be explained more elegantly than by Earth centric models. So these ideas traveled far beyond India, translated into Arabic into Arabic language. It was taken by Arabs, and Aryabhat's work into an Islamic world. So this is how these ideas generate a worldwide. So where the scholars they expanded upon his insights, and centuries later, fragments to its knowledge influenced by some of the fragments also influenced European thought and forming part of intellectual soil from which picked up by Copernicus heliocentric model that would grow later, and we know all this. All of us know about this. So Aryabhat's heliocentric model also feels the prophetic in the age of space exploration. So by placing Earth as one planet among many, he reframed humanity's place in the cosmos. Today, as astronaut prepares for Mars mission and telescopes peer into distinct galaxies, his insight remind us that Earth is not the center of existence, but a part of a vast interconnected universe. So in 2026, this perspective is more urgent than ever. So climate change, geopolitical tensions, and AI-driven transformation all demand a planetary consciousness and awareness that Earth is fragile, finite, and not the axis of all the things. Aryabhat's heliocentric courage became a metaphor for humanity and responsibility in the modern age. So Aryabhat's heliocentric leaning were not merely scientific hypotheses, they were act of intellectual bravery. To suggest that Earth itself was in motion and was also a challenging and challenging the deepest assumptions of his times. In 2026, as we grapple with the AI ethics, planetary colonization, the global collaboration, Aryabhat's example reminds us that the progress begins with questioning obvious. So his story is not just about astronomy, it is about courage to see things differently. And in that sense, Aryabhat's heliocentric revolution continues to orbit our imagination, urging us to look beyond the familiar and embrace the infinite. So we have come to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe our channel. And we look forward for your comment on this topic. But before we end this video, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, NASA just revealed its next generation high performance space flight computing HPSC processor, a tiny system on a chip that operates nearly 500 times faster than the current space flight computers. Testing at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory JPL proves that the radiation hardened chip could completely eliminate delayed commands from mission control, allowing future rovers and deep space probe to think, navigate and troubleshoot entirely on their own. Therefore, this is very significant, and in this video we break down how this revolutionary AI chip works, how it survives the brutal radiation of deep space, and what this means for upcoming crewed and robotic missions to the moon, Mars and beyond. Let's go. Imagine you're driving a car down a busy highway, but there is a catch. Every time you turn the steering wheel or step on the brakes, it takes 20 minutes for car to actually react. Sounds like a total nightmare, right? Well, that is exactly how NASA has to drive every single rover, probe and spacecraft currently exploring our solar system. Because of the staggering distance in deep space, radio signal traveling at the speed of light can take anywhere from few minutes to several hours to travel from Earth to place like Mars or Jupiter, and then any other beyond Jupiter, few hours to get a response back. If a rover encounters a sudden hazard like crumbling ledge or an unexpected dust storm, it can't wait for ground control to tell it what to do. It has to stop, shut down and go into a protective safe mode, waiting hours or days for humans to fix the problem. But in May 2026, NASA announces a breakthrough that will challenge the rules of space exploration forever. They have officially built and begun testing a revolutionary new brain for the spacecraft, a tiny microchip that allows deep space probe to finally think, react and navigate entirely for themselves. So friends, if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's continue. To understand how massive this upgrade is, we first need to look at the dirty little secrets in the space industry. Space computers are surprisingly ancient. The smartphone in your pocket right now is exponentially faster and much more powerful than many computers on board NASA's most advanced rovers. Why? Because the consumer electronics on Earth don't have to survive a bombardment of high energy cosmic radiation or extreme temperature swing that would instantly fry a standard silicon chip. Space agencies have historically chosen safety and rugged reliability over raw processing speed, but space exploration has reached a bottleneck. Future missions to navigate subterranean caves on Mars or to plunge through icy plumes of Europa requires intense real-time data processing that old chips simply cannot handle. Enter the HPSC, which stands for High Performance Space Flight Computing. Developed through a landmark commercial partnership between NASA, Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Microchip Technology Inc. This processor is a marvel of engineering. It's a system on a chip, or SoC, meaning it packs an entire computer worth of central processing unit, memory, controller, advanced networking units, and computational accelerator onto a single piece of silicon that fit right into the palm of your hand. And the performance numbers, what are the performance numbers? They are absolutely staggering. Preliminary tests show that the HPSC processor provides over 100 times the total computational capacity of the current space flight computers. But even wilder, in specific operating scenarios, its peak performance bursts up to 500 times faster than the radiation hardened chip in use today. So how does this works, and how did they do it? How did they build a chip that's this fast, doesn't melt in deep space? First, the HPSC is built on an open source 64-bit RISC-V architecture, which is RISC number 5 architecture, featuring a 10-core multi-processing system. Unlike the older single-core space chips that had to handle every instructions one by one, this multi-core system can delegate tasks. But space has another massive constraint, which is power. On a distant moon or out past Saturn, solar power is nearly non-existent, and every single watt of electricity from spacecraft's nuclear battery is very precious. The HPSC handles this with unprecedented flexibility. It features a dynamic granular power management architecture. If a spacecraft is just quietly coasting through deep space for a few months, operator can algo turn off the sections of the chip that aren't being used, dropping it into a ultra low power mode. But the second the spacecraft prepared to execute a complex high stake landing on a distant planet, the chip instantly powers up all its cores to process mountains of sensor data on the fly. Furthermore, it is designed from the ground up to be a fault tolerant and radiation hardened. High energy solar particles can randomly flip bits in computer's memory, causing critical code to crash. HPSC has built-in hardware level error handling and a full defense grade security suite. It can detect a radiation induced error, correct the corrupted data in real time, and keep running without missing a beat, all the while being millions of miles away from the nearest repair technician. Now let's talk about this what this actually enables. Why does a spacecraft need a 500 times speed boost? It all comes down to autonomy and on-board artificial intelligence. With this kind of processing muscle, a spacecraft doesn't just record data to send back to Earth. It will analyze it locally. Imagine a future rover exploring Mars. Instead of waiting for a human team on Earth to map out a safe 30-foot path of the day, HPSC powered rover can use its onboard camera to build a real-time 3D map of its surrounding, run advanced object classification algorithms, spot its own hazards, and safely drive miles a day completely on its own. Think about autonomous landing sequence. Landing on a body with an atmosphere or an unpredictable surface is often called the 7 minutes of terror. The spacecraft has to fire thrusters, deploy parachutes, and scan the ground for boulders, all in real time. HPSC allows integrated AI algorithms to process high fidelity sensors data instantly, making split second adjustment to land precisely on the target. This means this opens up a whole new class of missions. We can now confidently send intelligent vehicles into places where real time human control is literally impossible, like flying automated helicopters through alien atmospheres, traversing dark subterranean caves, or deploying autonomous submarines beneath the icy Jupiter's moon Europa to look for alien life. This isn't just theoretical science or any fiction anymore. Right now, this chip is a reality. It's being put through absolute rigor. At NASA's JPL in California, engineers are conducting rigorous functional test campaigns. They started, back in February, blasting the chip with extreme thermal shocks, violent vibrations to simulate rocket launches, and intense electromagnetic radiation. To kick off the test phase, the teams programmed a tiny symbolic message into the processor. Hello universe, a clever, grander nod to the classic hello world program every software engineer writes. And so far, the chip has passed every single test with flying colors, proving that it functions flawlessly exactly as designed. But NASA and the microchip technology have an even broader vision. Because this architecture is highly flexible, it isn't going to stay confined to deep space. Microchip is planning to adapt the core technology of HPSC processor for high demand mission critical industries right here on Earth. We are talking about next generation commercial aviation autopilot systems, smart energy grid that can dynamically reroute power during natural disasters, advanced medical equipment, automated manufacturing, and localized industrial AI robotics. It's another classical example of how investing in space technology radically accelerates innovation for everyday life on Earth. Once the testing phase wraps up and the HPSC chip is officially certified as space qualified, NASA plans to weave this hardware into practically everything they launch. It will power next generation Earth orbiting satellites, upcoming planetary rovers, autonomous deep space probes, and even the crewed habitat and life support system for the Artemis astronauts heading back to the moon, eventually onwards to Mars. We are standing on a precipice of a new golden age of exploration, an era where humanity's robotic scouts aren't just remote controlled tools tethered to a sluggish radio wave, but independent, intelligent explorers capable of uncovering mysteries of the cosmos entirely on their own. So, friends, what do you think? Would you trust an AI powered spacecraft to safely land astronauts on Mars without human input? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of space tech, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all the notifications so you never miss another breakthrough that we bring to you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video, my friends. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज है बृहस्पतिवार और जैसा कि आप सभी लोगों को पता होगा, ज़्यादातर लोगों को पता रहता है कि बृहस्पतिवार का जो दिन होता है ये भगवान विष्णु के लिए समर्पित होता है। तो आज के दिन हम भगवान विष्णु की पूजा करते हैं, आराधना करते हैं और हर रोज की तरह अपना दिन शुरू करने से पहले हम भगवान विष्णु का नमन करेंगे, उनको याद करेंगे। और आप जैसे जानते हैं कि हम हर मंत्र को 11 दफा करते हैं, तो आज भी हम एक बहुत ही आसान सा मंत्र भगवान विष्णु का जो मंत्र है वो 11 दफा हम रिसाइट करेंगे। और हम ये काउंटर यूज करेंगे जिसमें आप देख सकते हैं कि नंबर आ जाते हैं, तो ये काफी हमें सहायता मिलती है कि हम इसमें देख लेते हैं कि कितनी बार हुआ है। आप जैसा मर्जी चाहे वैसा कर सकते हैं। आप उंगलियों का यूज कर सकते हैं, आप माला का यूज कर सकते हैं। आपके जो आपको कंफर्टेबल लगे वैसा करें। तो चलिए हम अपनी पूजा प्रारंभ करते हैं। आप सब हमारे साथ जुड़ें और इस पूजा में पार्टिसिपेट करें। पहले तो हाथ जोड़ लेते हैं और भगवान विष्णु का नमन करते हैं। ओम नमो वासुदेवाय नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों, हमारी पूजा आज की समाप्त होती है, तो हम इस वीडियो को बंद करते हैं, लेकिन जल्दी ही दूसरे वीडियो में मिलते हैं। तब तक आपका दिन मंगलमय हो, शुभ हो। नमस्कार। नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज तो मंगलवार का दिन है, आपको सबको ज्ञात है। और आज तारीख क्या है? 16 तारीख है, 16 जून। तो सबको पता है मंगलवार का जो दिन है वो हनुमान जी के लिए समर्पित है। तो आज के दिन हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे, अपना जो वर्किंग डे है वो शुरू करेंगे भगवान जी की पूजा करके, हनुमान जी की पूजा करेंगे। और इस पूजा में हम हनुमान चालीसा का उच्चारण करेंगे, रिसाइटेशन करेंगे। तो आप सब हमारे साथ जुड़ें और हनुमान चालीसा का रिसाइटेशन हमारे साथ जोड़ के करें, इससे काफ़ी फायदा होता है। चलिए आंख बंद करके ध्यान कर लेते हैं और भगवान जी का हम नमन शुरू करते हैं। सबसे पहले जय श्री राम। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधार। बरनउँ रघुबर बिमल जसु, जो दायक फलचार। बुद्धिहीन तनु जान के, सुमरो पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे, हरेउ क्लेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तेहु लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमत के संगी। कंचन वरन विराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र ओ ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करवे को आतुर, प्रभु चरित्र सुनवे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरी सिंह दिखावा, विकट रूप धरी लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरी असुर सहारे, रामचंद्र जी के काज संवारे। लाए सजीवन लखन जी आए, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए, रघुपत कीनी बहुत बढ़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत संभाई। सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादि ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहां थे, कवि कोविद कही सके कहां थे। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव वही कीना, राम मिलाए राजपद दीना। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु, लियो ताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेल मुख माही, जल दिलांग गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवाले, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे। सब सुख लहें तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोग हाँकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लाए, सोई अमित जीवन फल पाए। चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्धि जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवाले, असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे। अस्थिति नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जान की माता। राम रसायन तुमरे पासा, सदा रो रघुपति के दासा। तुमरे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित न धरे, हनुमत से ही सब सुख करे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गुसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सतपार पाठ कर कोई, छूटे बंदी महासुख होई। जो ये पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय में डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूरत रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसो सुरभूप। जय श्री राम जय श्री राम जय श्री राम। तो दोस्तों, आज हमारी पूजा संपन्न हुई और हम अपना अब दिन शुरू करेंगे। इस वीडियो में आपसे विदा लेता हूं। आपका दिन शुभ रहे। नमस्कार।
Before the robotic arms and AI entered the operation theatre, a healer in ancient India was already reshaping the future of medicine. Sushruta, the legendary father of surgery, carved his legacy not with the medicines but with wisdom, precision, and compassion. In Sushruta Samhita, he described rhinoplasty, cataract surgery, and anatomy with astonishing details. Centuries ahead of his time, and in today 2026, as medicine balance in innovation with ethics, his voice echoes across the millennia. Let's find out more about him. In the annals of medical history, few names shines as bright as Sushruta, the ancient Indian physician whose vision and practice earned him the title of Father of Surgery. So, living around the 6th century BCE in Kashi, the modern Varanasi, Sushruta was more than a healer. He was teacher, he was philosopher and innovator who believed medicine was a sacred duty rooted in compassion and discipline. His legacy, preserved in Sushruta Samhita, continues to resonate even in 2026 as the world seeks balance between cutting-edge technology and holistic care. Sushruta Samhita is monumental text spanning 186 chapters covering surgery, anatomy, pharmacy and pediatrics, taxology and prevention medicines, Within its page, Sushita described surgical techniques that astonish modern readers also, like rhinoplasty using skin flaps, cataract surgeries by lens removal, and lithotomy for bladder stones and obesities, a procedure to save mothers, especially in critical conditions. He catalogs over 300 bones, 700 vessels, and a wide array of surgical instruments. So, demonstrating a mastery of anatomy that was centuries ahead of its time. His insistence on hygiene, diets, and lifestyle as pillar of health foreshadows even the modern preventive medicines. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, going forward on this wonderful topic, Sushita's contribution was not merely technical. He emphasized on ethics, compassion, and the morality of responsibilities of physicians. So, in an age where the artificial intelligence and robotics are entering in operating rooms, his reminder that the healing is both science and art, and that feels especially both the things combination and the field definitely you will also agree is very urgent even in 2026. Technology may enhance precision, but the human touch, empathy, respect, and ethical judgment remains irreplaceable. In 2026, Sushita's relevance is striking. As reconstructive surgery advances, his pioneer in rhinoplasty techniques are recognized as a procedure to modern plastic surgery. As integrative medicines gains traction, his holistic approach, combining such surgery with Ayurveda, diets, and lifestyle, offers a model for sustainable healthcare. And as a global health system grapples with the pandemics, lifestyle diseases, and ethical dilemmas, his vision of medicines as moral duty provides timeless guidance. So, Sushita's life reminds us that innovation is not only about inventions but about foresight. He anticipated the need for structured surgical training, insisting that students practice on watermelon or animal carcasses before operating on human. As a principle, echoes even today's medical simulations. He saw the physician not as a technician, but as a custodian of life, entrusted with both skill and conscience. So in 2026, Sushita's voice echoes across millennia. His cave of knowledge, like that of Bat Cave of virus ecology, teaches vigilance and balance. He reminds us that the medicine must evolve and serve the humanity, and the healing is a dialogue between tradition and innovation. His contribution is not a relic of past, but a living lesson for the future. So, definitely, and this is something, his legacy is not definitely we should read, we should appreciate, and we should also follow the footstep what he has put across for human development, human health development. So his legacy, as I said, is not definitely a relic. It's a living compass pointing us towards future where the healing is both precise and compassion. So we have come to end of this interesting topic. I will request you to like and subscribe our channel and look forward for your comments on this topic. See you in the next one. But before we end this live video, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कार। हम सब जानते हैं कि जो मार्केट की अनिश्चितता है, जो कभी भी स्टेबल नहीं रहता है, और बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं जो बिल्कुल अनस्टेबल रहती है मार्केट में, जैसे कि आपके डिजिटल डिसरप्शन जो हो रहा है, और कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि गवर्नमेंट कभी नई पॉलिसीज़ लेके आती है। तो ऐसे बदलते हुए एनवायरनमेंट के अंदर एक महान सीईओ और एक अच्छा नेतृत्व वाला सीईओ में डिफरेंस क्या है? क्या ये सिर्फ स्ट्रेटजी है या लीडरशिप रेजिलियंस है? ये एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है। इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर ढूंढने के लिए हम भगवत गीता का सहायता लेंगे और ये जानेंगे कि हमारी लीडरशिप को कैसे हम इतना स्ट्रांग बना दें कि वो बिल्कुल अनचेंजिंग सेल्फ की तरह और एक सिद्धांत की तरह सामने आए, और कोई भी लीडर अगर इस चीज़ को फॉलो करे तो कुछ भी हो जाए, किस तरह का भी मार्केट वॉलेटिलिटी हो जाए, लेकिन लीडरशिप पे कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा। ये जानिए कैसे होगा। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। देखिए दोस्तों, जो मार्केट का जो नॉइज होता है कभी नहीं रुकता, जो शोरगुल होता है वो कभी नहीं रुकता है। ये शोरगुल क्या होता है? जैसे कि क्वार्टरली प्रोजेक्शंस होते हैं, इसमें प्रोजेक्शन कभी ऊपर होते हैं, कभी नीचे होते हैं। कॉम्पिटिटर डिसरप्टिवनेस होती है। कॉम्पिटिटर अपने प्रोडक्ट को कभी अच्छा करता है या अपने वैल्यूज को अच्छा करता है। कभी कभी सप्लाई चेन में फ्रैक्चर्स हो जाते हैं, और कभी कभी बोर्ड रूम में बहुत अलग तरीके के प्रेशर होते हैं, पॉलिटिकल और डिफरेंट तरीके के प्रेशर हो जाते हैं। ये एक ना रुकने वाला नोटिफिकेशन का शोर है जो हर सीईओ को सुनना पड़ता है, और इस जो नोटिफिकेशन है या नॉलेज है या इंफॉर्मेशन है, मार्केट रियलिटी जिसको हम बोलते हैं, इससे हमेशा उसको जो सीईओ है उसके दिमाग में ये रहता है, इनपुट रहता है, और उससे वो ड्राइव होता है। मतलब अगर ये इनपुट ना हो तो सीईओ को लगता है कि मुझे कुछ पता ही नहीं है मार्केट रियलिटी के बारे में, तो मैं ड्राइव नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ अपने स्ट्रेटेजी को। ये एक बहुत ही हाई फ्रिक्वेंसी हम की तरह महसूस होता है जो सीईओज होते हैं जो इस इनपुट को लेते हैं। लेकिन अगर मैं आपसे बोलूं कि इस ऐसा करने के बजाय, हाइपर विजिलेंट होने के बजाय, अगर आपको इस शोर से दूर होके फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन लेने का मौका मिले, तो क्या आपको लगेगा कि ये एक अच्छा तरीका है, या आपको लगेगा कि इससे हम आगे जा सकते हैं और इस शोर से दूर होके हम डिटैच होके हम डिसीजंस लें तो हमारे लिए ज़्यादा फायदेमंद रहेगा? तो इसी पॉइंट को आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे, और हम डिस्कस करेंगे, इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर ढूंढेंगे भगवत गीता के चैप्टर 2 वर्स 25 से, जिसमें बहुत ही प्रोफाउंड साइकोलॉजिकल फ्रेमवर्क की व्याख्या की गई है, एंड ये आज मॉडर्न सीईओ के ऊपर एकदम लागू होता है। और ये एक मास्टर क्लास की तरह है जो एक एग्जीक्यूटिव स्टेबिलिटी की तरफ आपको ले जाता है अगर आप उसको फॉलो करें। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं तो आप हमें कृपया बताइए कि आप किस शहर से हमारा वीडियो देख रहे हैं और किस लैंग्वेज में हमारा वीडियो देखना पसंद करते हैं। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। हम इस श्लोक को पढ़ेंगे। अब श्लोक में ये कहा गया है कि अपने
जो चीज़ आपकी इनविजिबल है या इनकंसीवेबल है या अनचेंजेबल है, अगर इसको हम जानते हैं तो इसके ऊपर हमें ज़्यादा शोक नहीं करना चाहिए। मतलब हिंदी में आपको थोड़ा सा कन्वर्ट करके बताया मैंने, ये कि संस्कृत में है ये। नाउ अब इसको हम अप्लाई करते हैं अपने बिजनेस लैंग्वेज में, बिजनेस कॉन्टेक्स्ट के अंदर। इसमें क्या होता है कि जो हम बॉडी जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, जो एक फ्रिजाइल है, इसके अंदर बहुत सारे बॉडी, मतलब कि आपका जो बिजनेस का जो शोर जो आ रहा है, जैसे कि P&L स्टेटमेंट है जो फ्लक्चुएट करता रहता है, स्टॉक प्राइजेस है जो हमेशा फ्लक्चुएट करते रहते हैं, ऑफिस स्पेस है, कभी ऑफिस आपको बढ़ाना पड़ता है, कभी आपको कम करना पड़ता है, प्रोडक्ट लॉन्चेस होते हैं, कभी कभी उनमें गड़बड़ हो जाती है, नए प्रोडक्ट लॉन्चेस होते हैं, एम्प्लॉय टर्नओवर भी होता है जो कभी कभी आपकी कंपनी को या आपको आपके लिए मुश्किल पैदा कर सकता है। लेकिन गीता के अनुसार इसको बॉडी कहा गया है क्योंकि बॉडी एक नश्वर है, ये खत्म हो जाती है। तो ये इससे इक्वेट किया गया है कि जो बॉडी है वो तो टेम्परेरी है, तो इसको आप परमानेंट कैसे मान सकते हैं? जो मार्केट जो नॉलेज है, इसको आप कैसे ये मान सकते हैं कि यही एकदम सच है, राइट? तो इससे ये बोलते हैं भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को ये बोलते हैं कि आप जो नश्वर चीज है, जो परमानेंट नहीं है, उसके ऊपर शोक क्यों करते हैं? तो इसी तरह से अगर आज के जो सीईओज हैं, जो मार्केट नॉलेज है, शेयर प्राइसेस है, प्रोडक्ट लॉन्चेस है, इसके ऊपर आप क्यों उतना ध्यान देते हैं? अगर इसको ना ध्यान देके बेसिक्स पे ध्यान देंगे तो हो सकता है आपके डिसीजंस अलग तरीके के आए और लॉन्ग टर्म को ध्यान में रखते हुए आए। तो एक तो ये बात होगी। दूसरा ये है कि मोस्ट सीईओज जो हैं, 100% ऑफ द सीईओज वो इसी चीज को देखते हैं, वो लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं देखते, वो देखते हैं कि मार्केट नॉलेज क्या चल रही है, शेयर प्राइस क्या चल रहा है, इस क्वार्टर में क्या होने वाला है। तो उससे क्या होता है कि आपका जो डिसीजंस है दे आर वेरी वेरी नीजर रिएक्शन के हिसाब से होते हैं, और जो आपको मार्केट बता रहा है उसी तरह से आप अपने डिसीजंस लेते हैं। अगर मार्केट आपको बता रहा है कि आप फ्लॉप होने वाले हैं तो आप हाथ पैर मारने लग जाते हैं और अपने आप को भूल जाते हैं। आप ये नहीं समझ पाते कि हमारे अंदर कितनी क्षमता है, और आप मार्केट आपको ही ड्राइव करने लगता है। मतलब मार्केट तो ड्राइव हो रहा है किसी भी तरीके से, लेकिन वो आपको भी ड्राइव करने लगता है, तो आप उसी की चपेट में आ जाते हैं। उससे क्या होता है? उससे ये होता है कि आपके जो डिसीजंस हैं वो गलत हो जाते हैं। अब आती है बात दूसरे शब्द की जो इस श्लोक में दिया गया है, उसका नाम है सेल्फ। सेल्फ का मतलब क्या है? सेल्फ का मतलब है कोर विजन, आपकी कंपनी का, आपका खुद का। और आपकी कंपनी बनी क्यों है? वाई बिहाइंड योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। आपकी कंपनी का काम क्या है? आपकी कंपनी का अनचेंजेबल मिशन क्या है? इनटेंजिबल आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी क्या है? चाहे क्वार्टर ग्रोथ 2% हो या 20%, लेकिन ऐसी क्या चीज है जो सेल्फ है, मतलब जो चेंज नहीं होती आपकी कंपनी में? तो उसको ध्यान ना देके आप मार्केट वाली जो पहले जो मार्केट का शोर है उसके ऊपर ध्यान देते हैं। इसको सेल्फ को केयर नहीं करते, लेकिन जो मार्केट से जो टेम्परेरी इंफॉर्मेशन आती है उस पे आप ज्यादा ध्यान देते हैं। तो ये जो चीज है, ये पहले तो गीता का जब हम श्लोक पढ़ते हैं तो पहले हमें समझना चाहिए कि हम किस चीज के बारे में बात करें। तो आज दो चीजों के बारे में बात हो रही है, एक है बॉडी, दूसरा है सेल्फ। बॉडी इज मार्केट नॉइज और सेल्फ इज योर स्ट्रेटेजी, आपका मिशन, एक्सेट्रा। अब आप देखिए, कोई सर्जन है जो एक सीईओ के समान है, कभी भी फियर से पैरालाइज नहीं होता है। मतलब जो पेशेंट पे के ऊपर जो वो काम कर रहे होते हैं, अपना उनके ऊपर उपचार या इलाज कर रहे होते हैं, तो कभी इतना इमोशनल नहीं होते हैं। क्यों? इसका मतलब यही है कि अगर वो इमोशनल हो जाएंगे तो वो पेशेंट की ठीक तरीके से इलाज नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो इसी तरीके से सीईओ इतना इमोशनल नहीं होना चाहिए मार्केट नॉलेज को लेकर। अपने बेसिक, अपनी सेल्फ के ऊपर ज़्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए, और अपने जो स्ट्रेटजी है उसको ऑपरेशनलाइज करने के लिए उसको एक लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटजी बनानी चाहिए जो बिल्कुल चेंज ना हो, कभी चेंज ना हो, अनचेंजेबल जिसको बोलते हैं। तो भगवान कृष्ण ने बताया कि आपकी स्ट्रेटजी, आपका मिशन, आपकी वैल्यूज बिल्कुल अनचेंजेबल होनी चाहिए। अब इन चीज़ों को हम करेंगे कैसे? अगर आपको आज ये करना हुआ तो ऑब्वियसली एक दिन में तो ये हो नहीं पाएगा। तो 3-4 चीज़ें मैं अपनी तरफ से आपको बताता हूँ जो आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी है। पहला है सेल्फ ऑडिट। आप किसी भी डिसीजन कोई भी डिसीजन लेने से पहले आप पहले इस सिचुएशन का ऑडिट कर लें। ऑडिट का मतलब ये है कि अगर मैं कोई डिसीजन लेने वाला हूँ या वाली हूँ तो ये देख लें कि मैं डिसीजन जो ले रहा हूँ लॉन्ग टर्म को ध्यान में रख के ले रहा हूँ, या मैं जो मार्केट का नॉइज़ है पैनिक होके फियर के अंदर आके मैं इसको ले रहा हूँ। तो ये ऑडिट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। आपको 1 मिनट, 5 मिनट, आधा घंटा, 1 घंटा, जितना भी आपको टाइम लगे इस चीज़ का आप ऑडिट करें और देखें कि मैं शॉर्ट टर्म से इफेक्ट हो रहा हूँ क्या, या मैं लॉन्ग टर्म के को कंसिडर करते हुए इस पे काम कर रहा हूँ। नंबर 2 है प्रैक्टिस रेडिकल एक्सेप्टेंस। आपको ये एक्सेप्ट करना चाहिए कि जो अनचेंजेबल है मार्केट के अंदर वो कभी चेंज नहीं हो सकता, उसको कोई भी हिला नहीं सकता है। उसके उसको कोई भी आ जाए, कितना भी ताकतवर आ जाए, जो अनचेंजेबल चीज़ें हैं उसको आप उसको आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते। तो आपके पावर में ही नहीं है, आपके और किसी के भी पावर में नहीं है। तो पहले उन चीज़ों को आपको समझना चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर आपको उस चीज़ की नॉलेज होगी कि ऐसी कौन सी चीज़ है जो बदली नहीं जा सकती, तो फिर आपके डिसीजंस बिल्कुल अलग तरीके से आएंगे और रिएक्टिव नहीं होंगे, फियरफुल नहीं होंगे आपके डिसीजंस। तीसरा जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है वो है लीड फ्रॉम द कोर। जब आपके पहले 2 पॉइंट आपने अच्छी तरह कर लिया, आपने ऑडिट कर लिया और आपने ये समझ लिया कि मार्केट में कौन सी अनशेकेबल अनचेंजेबल चीज़ें हैं, तो फिर आप लीड फ्रॉम द कोर अपने डिसीजंस जो होंगे अनशेकेबल सीईओज की तरह आप लेंगे, और फिर आपको किसी चीज़ की फिक्र नहीं रहेगी। आपके सारे डिसीजंस एकदम लॉन्ग टर्म बेसिस पे होंगे, जो आपके ग्रुप को, आपकी कंपनी को, आपको हमेशा पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन में लेके जाएंगे, हमेशा रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ देंगे। कभी क्वार्टर ऊपर नीचे होगा उससे आपको फ़र्क ही नहीं पड़ता है। तो ये आपका हो जाता है, एक बुलेट प्रूफ मैनेजर आप बन जाते हैं, और आप बिल्कुल आपका जो नज़रिया है बात करने का, सोचने का, कंपनी को रन करने का बिल्कुल बदल जाता है। तो ये जो 2 लाइनें हैं इस श्लोक में, कितना पावरफुल श्लोक है देखिए। अगर आप इसको प्रैक्टिस करें तो आप अनशेकेबल सीईओ बन सकते हैं। तो दोस्तों, अगर आपके पास कोई क्वेश्चन है या आप और डिटेल में इसके बारे में जानना चाहते हैं, ज़रूर कमेंट करके बताएं, और ये भी बताएं कि आपकी कंपनी या आपका ग्रुप कोई क्राइसिस फेस कर रहा है, सो हम आपको उसमें हेल्प कर सकते हैं। गीता का जो ज्ञान है उसको यूज़ करके आपको हेल्प कर सकते हैं, हाउ डू यू मूव फॉरवर्ड। और आपको ये भी हेल्प कर सकते हैं कि टेम्परेरी क्या है, परमानेंट क्या है, इस चीज़ का आप आइडेंटिफिकेशन कर सकें। तो दोस्तों, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग। मैं मिलता हूँ आपसे अगले वीडियो में जल्दी। लीड वेल एंड आई विल सी यू अगेन इन द नेक्स्ट वन।
Every CEO knows the feeling. It is 2 p.m. and the market is dipping. A key executive just resigned and your board is asking for a pivot. In this movement, your heart rates climb and your mind starts to race. You feel the waver. Most leadership training tells you to look outward for a solution, analyzing the data, check the competition, pivot the strategy, but ancient wisdom suggests that the most effective leader don't look out, they look inwards. Today we are exploring a profound lesson from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 21. It's a verse that defines the state of perfection for a yogi. But as we all see that the actual blueprint for the ultimate high pressure performance executive is very well defined in this particular verse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the verse itself. It says, on attaining perfection, the yogi sees the soul through the purified mind and experience inner joy. In this joyous state of pure bliss or samadhi, which is beyond comprehension of the senses, he never wavers from the path. And the quote close. There are three key pillars here that applies directly to you as a leader. Number one is the purified mind. So in business, we call this clarity. Number two is beyond the senses. In business, we call this vision. And number three is the unwavering path. And in business, we call this execution. The word suggests that never wavering isn't a result of willpower or being tough. It's a result of a specific internal state called samadhi. The word state, with seeing through purified mind, what does a dirty or a cluttered mind look like for a CEO? It's a mind filled with noise, fear of failure, the egos, and need for validation. Also, distraction of the short-term gains. All the distraction that you may get because of the short-term gains. When your mind is cluttered, you aren't seeing reality. You are seeing a projection of the reality. You react to the news rather than responding to the truth. Learning in the context of this verse isn't about reading more spreadsheets. It's about purifying the lens. When a leader purifies their mind through meditation, reflection, or radical honesty, they see the soul of the business. They see the core purpose, and when you see the core clearly, the external chaos loses its power, which would eventually distracted you. But then you are, saving yourself from that distraction. Next, the Gita mentions a joy that is beyond comprehension of the senses. This is the part which most business schools miss. We are taught to rely entirely on our senses. What we can see in a report, hear in a meeting, or touch in a product. But the most iconic leaders think like Steve Jobs, Indra Nooyi, or Howard Schultz often made their biggest move based on something beyond the senses. They had an inner conviction that defied the current data. Bhagavad Gita calls this samadhi. For a CEO, this is the flow state. It is that moment where you are so aligned with your purpose that you experience a quiet inner joy even in the middle of a crisis. Why is this joy important? Because if your happiness depends on your stock price, which is a sensory input, you will waver every time the market fluctuates. But if your joy comes from an internal alignment with your mission, you become a bulletproof CEO. The final promise of the verse is the most important, and that is, he never wavers from the path. In the corporate world, wavering is expensive. It leads to confused teams, wasted resources, and lost market share. Leaders waver because they are searching for external certainty. But as verse 21 teaches us, certainty is an inside job. When you have experienced that inner joy and pure bliss of clarity, you no longer need the world to tell you that you are right? You stay the course because you know the course. This isn't stubbornness. Stubbornness is an ego-driven refusal to change. Unwavering leadership is a soul-driven commitment to a truth that you have perceived through clear mind. So how do you apply this today? You don't need to move to Himalayas to find that state. You find it in the micro moments of your day. Before your next meeting, take 2 minutes to purify the lens. Strip away the ego and the fear. Ask, what is the core truth here? When things go wrong, check your joy. If your peace is gone, you have slipped back into the world of senses. Reconnect with your why. Commit to the path. Once you see the truth through a clear mind, trust it. The best leaders never waver because they aren't following the world. They are leading from a place where the world cannot touch them. So, friends, go forth and lead with that unshakable clarity. We have come to the end of our lesson today. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello friends, welcome to Executive Learning Session. In today's high pressure corporate world, CEOs are often obsessed with the quarterly reports. But what if focusing less on the result actually would lead to better performance? That's a very big and profound question. Therefore, today in this video, we break down the profound leadership wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And we will also explore how it serves as a blueprint for the modern mindful executives. We explore the concept of Karma Yogi, a leader who performs their duty with intense focus and excellence without becoming slave to the result. So therefore, friends, stick around with this thought and let's explore this further. Picture this. It's 11 p.m. on a Sunday and you're starting working at a spreadsheet. You have got a quarterly board meeting in 48 hours. The numbers aren't where they need to be and your heart is racing. Your sleep is now non-existent and your identity, your very worth as a leader is tied entirely to the bottom right cell of the screen, right? This happens to everybody, isn't it? Well, we have been taught that the greatest leader you must be result driven. We must obsess over KPIs, exit strategies, and stock prices. But here is a paradox: the more tightly you grip the result, the more likely you are, likely to choke the process that creates it. Today, I want to share a piece of wisdom that is 7,000 years old, yet feels like it was written for this morning market volatility. It's from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, first verse of chapter 6. It is a verse that redefines what it means to be a yogi and by extension what it means to be a leader. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Let's proceed further. So now let's look at the verse. Quote starts: a true yogi or a true renunciant is the one who performs his duty renouncing attachment to result, and not one who abandons work or the sacrificial fire. Quote close. Now, when we hear the word yogi or renunciant, we think of someone sitting on a mountain far away from emails and supply chain issues. But Bhagwan Krishna says something radical here. He says the true yogi is not the one who quits. It's the one who stopped doing the work. It's also not that. In business context, Krishna is saying you don't have to quit your job to find peace. You don't have to stop being ambitious. The sacrificial fire for CEO is the office, the factory, and the boardroom. The distinction isn't whether you work, it's how you relate to outcome of what works, etc. So what is the result paradox? So when we attach to the result, we operate from a place of fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of looking bad. When the brain is in the fear mode, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for high level strategy and innovation, shuts down. Attachment creates tunnel vision. You become so focused on the win that you miss the ethical red flags or the innovative pivot that could have saved your company. Attachment creates fragility. If your happiness depends on the green KPI, a red KPI will shatter your confidence completely. So, Gita suggests a better way. Perform your karma, the duty at hand. Imagine the professional athlete. If a golfer is thinking about a trophy while they are, mid swing, they will miss the shot. To win the trophy, they must forget the trophy exists and focus entirely on the mechanics of the swing. That is leading without attachment. The verse mentioned not abandoning the sacrificial fire. In ancient times, this was the literal fire of ritual. Today, for a leader, it is the energy of the action. Leading without attachment does not mean leading without excellence. In fact, it requires more excellence. When you aren't worried about how the result will make you look, you are free to be. There are several things you are free to be. First is bold, because you aren't afraid of the fallout. Second is the present, because you aren't living in the future quarter. And third is the objective, because you see the data for what it is, not what you want it to be. A true CEO, which is yogi, performs their duty because it is the right thing to do, not because it means something to, earn your bonus, etc. They treat their company as a sacrifice, a contribution to the world. So how do we actually do this? How do we walk into the board meeting tomorrow and lead without the attachment? There are few ideas which I want to share with you. First is shift from what to how. Instead of asking, will they reach the target? Ask, are we executing this with the highest level of integrity and skill? If the process is perfect, the result is inevitable, and it's the inevitable byproduct. Second, the 5-minute detether. Before a high stake pitch, take 5 minutes to remind yourself, I have a right to work, but not to the fruits. Tell yourself that your value as a human being is independent of this deal. Watch how much more charismatic and calm you would become before you get into the meeting. Now, the third idea is reward effort, not just outcome. So, as a leader, stop only celebrating the wins. Start celebrating the karma as well. The disciplined, high quality effort, even when it doesn't lead to a win, this builds a culture of psychological safety. So, Bhagavad Gita isn't asking you to be less ambitious. In fact, it is asking you to be freer. So, when you stop being a slave to the result, you become master of your actions. You will become unshakable executive. You will still show up and you still, the light of fire, and you still do the work, but you do it with a smile, knowing that while you cannot control the wind, you can always control how you set your sail. So, friends, what do you think? Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining live. Let's go back to the fire and do the work. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send it across. Before I wind up this session, a word about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. and these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello friends. All of us sometimes get this feeling that our technical expertise or our hustle hold us back from our true potential for the true leadership. Everybody gets this kind of a feeling. Therefore, we dive deep into the most powerful leadership secrets from Bhagavad Gita. In a verse where Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna tells Arjun, "O Arjun, be a yogi." But what does this mean for a modern CEO or an entrepreneur to be a yogi? Today, we are going to break down why the yogi, the leader with disciplined equanimity, consistently outperform the three most common type of executive. Let's go. In the modern corporate world, we are taught that to win, you must be a specialist. You must be the smartest person in the room, the hardest worker in the office, or the most disciplined follower of the playbook. We obsess over KPIs, data points, and ATR work week. But have you ever noticed that even the most brilliant specialists eventually hit a ceiling? They burn out. They get blindsided by market shifts. They lose their team. Why? Because they are missing what ancient wisdom calls the unfair advantage. Over 7,000 years ago, on a battlefield far removed from the modern glass-walled boardrooms, a guide named Bhagwan Krishna gave a piece of advice to a leader in crisis. That advice is found in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 46, and it says, quote starts, "The yogi is superior to the ascetic. He is deemed superior even to the man of knowledge, and he is superior to the man of ritual action. Therefore, O Arjun, be a yogi." Today we are going to translate this ancient code into a roadmap for the 21st century leadership. We are going to explore why a yogi beats a specialist every single time. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Moving on, what are the different kinds of most common executives? First is aesthetic, which in Sanskrit known as tapasvi. In Gita, tapasvi is someone who practices extreme self-denial. In the corporate world, this is the grind culture CEO. They are the first one in and last one out. They sacrifice sleep, family, health. They believe that if they just suffer more than the competition, they will win. But Krishna warns us, sheer endurance without balance leads to a narrow vision. Number 2 is Jnani, which is the man of knowledge. This is the data-driven specialist, the CEO with Ivy League pedigree and the analytics mind that can spot a trend in a spreadsheet from miles away. They have the facts, but they often lack wisdom. They are paralyzed by the data if the data is missing, and they often struggle to connect with the human element of their business. Number 3 is Karmi, the man of ritual action. This is a process-driven executive. They live by SOPs. They believe that if the ritual of the business, which is the meeting, the reports, different kinds of pyramids, bell curve, if they are followed perfectly, success is guaranteed. But when the world changes, they are too rigid to pivot. Bhagwan Krishna says yogi is better than all three. Why? Because the yogi CEO is a leader who has mastered their inner environment. They don't just possess knowledge, they possess clarity. They don't just work hard, they work purposefully. They don't just follow process, they follow a vision. A yogi's unfair advantage is equanimity. Think about the last time your company faced a crisis. Did you react out of fear? Did you make desperate move based on a dip in the stock prices? A yogi CEO operates from the neutral center. They are not swayed by the high of massive profit or low of the market crash. While everyone else is reacting, the yogi is responding. This isn't about being passive, it's about being so internally grounded that your decision making becomes clinical, fast, and remarkably accurate. That is the definition of the competitive edge. There are several things we can actually discuss around this, but I want to be brief. And therefore, the first advice I want to give you is the cognitive flexibility. The specialist is a hammer, and to them, every problem looks like a nail. But a yogi isn't attached to one way of thinking because they aren't defined by their expertise. They can see the whole board, they can integrate the hard work of aesthetic and the data of Gyani and the process of karmi without being enslaved by any of them. Second is the emotional intelligence. The yogi understand that a business is just a collection of human beings. By mastering their own minds, they naturally become master of empathy. They can read the room, they can inspire a team during a pivot because they aren't projecting their own anxiety onto other subordinates. Third, sustainable high performance. The ascetic CEO eventually burns out. The yogi CEO understands the rhythm of action and reset. They operate with sense of detachment and therefore detached engagement. They care deeply about results, but they aren't consumed by them. This detachment actually allows them to perform better because they aren't choked by the fear of failure. So, how do we become a yogi CEO? Very big question, right? Let's start. It starts with realization that your most important business tool isn't your laptop, your network, or your bank account. It is your own mind. As verse 46 concludes, it says, therefore be a yogi, O Arjun. Very, it's like a proverb. Be a yogi, O Arjun. Such few words, but very profound meaning. This is a call to action for every leader. Don't just be a worker. Don't just be an expert. Don't just be a bureaucrat. Cultivate the discipline of the mind. Practice the equanimity that allows you to see through the noise of the market. Lead from a place of stillness, and you will find the impossible problems starting to solve themselves. The specialist sees the obstacle, the yogi sees the path. Which one will you be? Let me know in the comments below. Before I part ways today, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Ever wondered why you possesses a specific personality trait, strength, and struggles that defines you? In this video, we dive into the profound wisdom as guided by Bhagavad Gita. There are several shlok, but we will actually examine one of the shlok which unveils the source code of human existence, explaining that every quality we see in humanity, from intelligence, knowledge, and courage to fear, sorrow, and even infamy, originates from a single divine source. By exploring this ancient perspective, you will gain a new understanding of the nature of the universe and your place within the grand designs. We break down the complex list of qualities mentioned in the verse and discuss how realizing their origin can help you cultivate inner peace, equanimity, and self-awareness in your daily life. Let's go. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, why am I this way? Why do you feel intense joy one day and profound sorrow the very next day? Why do you have the courage to face a challenge yet feel paralyzed by a sudden, irrational fear? We often think our personality is just a random collection of habits and experience. But what if there was a blueprint? What if the entire spectrum of human experience, the light and the shadow, the brilliance and the failures, wasn't just you, but a reflection of the very nature of the universe? Today we are decoding one of the most profound verses in the ancient wisdom, which is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 5. It is quite literally the source code of human existence. So in chapter 10, Bhagwan Krishna is revealing his vibhuti, his divine manifestation. He is explaining that he is not just a distant force, but the active underlying reality behind everything we perceive. The verse reads like this, and the quote starts: intelligence, knowledge, clarity of thoughts, forgiveness, truthfulness, sense control, mind control, joy, sorrow, birth, death, fear, courage, non-violence, equanimity, contentment, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. These diverse qualities of living beings are created by me alone. And the quote close. So when you look at this list, you'll see a paradox. Most spiritual teaching tells you to seek joy and avoid sorrow. But here Bhagwan Krishna says both come from the same source. This is a massive shift in perspective. It suggests that your entire emotional and psychological landscape is not an accident. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's break this down. Bhagwan Krishna lists 20 qualities. Think of these as the primary color of the human consciousness. The intellectual cluster. Let's start with this. The intelligence, knowledge, clarity. These are the tools we use to navigate the material world. Next is the moral cluster, which is forgiveness, truthfulness, non-violence. These are the traits of stabilized society. Next is the emotional duality cluster. This is the most fascinating part. Joy and sorrow, birth and death, fear and courage, fame and infamy. We would, why would their divine claim to be the source of infamy or fear? This is the crux of the hidden blueprint. The universe is a playground of duality. You cannot understand the concept of courage if you have never experienced fear. You cannot appreciate joy without the contrast of sorrow. By acknowledging that all these states arise from the same divine source, you stop labeling your emotions as good or bad. Instead, you begin to see them as weather patterns of the soul. They are transient state that passes through the framework of your being. So, how do we, use this? If you are having a bad day, if you are feeling sorrow, fear, or lack of contentment, don't panic. According to this verse, those feelings are not wrong. They are part of the spectrum of the human experience, and that is allowed to exist as well. The secret is to move from being the experiencer to the observer. When you realize that your intelligence and your fear both come from the same ultimate source, you create a gap. In that gap, you find peace. You stop fighting your own mind. You start accepting the full, vibrant, and messy spectrum of the human life as it is, rather than how you wish to wear it, right? Now, this is the ultimate form of mind control, not suppressing the emotion, but recognizing its source. You're not just your thoughts, and you're not just your emotions. You are the canvas upon which these 20 qualities are painted. Understanding this blueprint changes how you interact with the world. You become more forgiving because you understand that everyone else is also playing out these same qualities. You become more equanimous because you now know that every high and every low is just a part of a grand design. And friends, I want you to think about the quality from that list today. Just one of them, maybe one you have been struggling with. How does your perspective changes if you see it in not as a flaw but as a thread in the blueprint of your existence? So do let me know if you have any questions. We can discuss this further as well on one-on-one basis. All right, friends. So if we have come to the end, before I close this live stream, I would like to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready, comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Is India finally ready to break its dependence on the expensive energy import? In order to answer this very profound question, we will actually discuss about a massive move towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. The Union Cabinet has officially greenlit a huge project which is worth 37,500 crore, and this project includes coal gasification scheme. This ambitious project aims to transform India's vast coal reserves into cleaner synthetic gas, chemicals, and fuels, potentially saving the economy billions in import bills. Let us discuss this further. India is at the crossroads. We are one of the world's fastest growing economies, but there has been a massive hole in our pocket. Every year we spend billions, literally trillions of rupees to import energy. We were talking about LNG, urea, methanol, etc. But what if I told you that the solution isn't coming from overseas? It's already here, buried right under our feet. on May 13th, 2026, Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi dropped a bombshell, a 37,500 crore incentive scheme for coal gasification. This isn't just a subsidy, it's a high stake bet to turn our black gold into clean usable gas. Is this the masterstroke that finally end our reliance on foreign fuels? Or is it a billion-dollar gamble on a controversial technology? Today we are going to break down the 37,500 crore deal, which is about coal gasification. Alright, so friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now, let's continue. Let's look at the numbers. India holds one of the world's largest gold reserves, roughly 401 billion tons. Yet, we are the world's biggest importers of energy. We import over 50% of our liquefied natural gas. We import nearly 90% of methanol and ammonia. We are 100% dependent on import for that today. This makes us vulnerable. When global prices spikes because of a war in the Middle East or supply chain issue in Europe, India pays the price at the petrol pump and at the grocery stores. The government message is very clear. We have the coal. Why are we buying the gas? To understand the bet, you have to understand the tech. The coal gasification is not burning coal. It is traditional power plant. You burn coal to create heat. In gasification, you heat coal in a controlled low oxygen environment with steam. Instead of smoke, this chemical reaction creates something called syngas, which is short of synthetic gas, a mixture of hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Why is syngas better? Because it is versatile. You can turn it into electricity. You can, also chemicals like methanol and ammonia for fertilizers. Synthetic natural gas, can replace LNG. Hydrogen for the future of clean transport. So what does this new scheme actually do? The government is putting its money where its mouth is. This 37,500 crore fund is designed to de-risk these massive projects. And here is a deal. The government will provide financial incentive to up to 20% of the cost of the plant and machinery. It is capped at 5,000 crore for a single project to ensure no one company hawks the whole fund. And what is the goal here? To gasify 100 million tons of coal by 2030. The government expects this scheme to trigger a massive rupees 2.5 to rupees 3 lakh crore in total investment from the private and public sector. Companies like Coal India, BHEL and GAIL are already lining up. This isn't just about energy, it's about food security and forex saving. Think about urea. India's agriculture depends on the urea. Urea requires ammonia, which we currently import. By making ammonia from domestic coal, we insulate our farmers from the global price shocks and the forex factor. In 2025 alone, our import bill for these products was a staggering 2.77 lakh crores. If you can cut even a quarter of that, it is a massive win for the Indian rupee. Plus, this scheme is technology agnostic, meaning it encourages indigenous Indian technology, reducing our reliance on foreign contractors. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: the environment. Is coal, ever truly clean? Technically, coal gasification is cleaner than burning coal. It allows for easier capture of CO2 and removes pollutant like sulfur before the gas is used. However, it is still a fossil fuel. Critics argue that the overall carbon footprint is still significant unless we add carbon capture and storage (CCS) technology. But for India, this is a bridge technology. It's like a for some temporary measures. We can switch to 100% solar overnight without risking blackouts. Gasification allows us to use our existing coal more efficiently while we build our renewable grid. The 37,500 crore is a massive bet. If it works, India could save billions, create thousands of jobs, and finally stop being at the mercy of the global oil and gas market. The target is 2030, 100 million tons. One giant leap for Indian energy, and therefore, friends, this is very, very significant. And I like to know what you think. Is coal gasification right? A bridge to a cleaner future, or should we have put this 37,000 crore directly into solar and wind? Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you found this helpful, and subscribe for more deep dives into Indian economy, India's future. And friends, if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to send your questions as well. I will see you in the next one. Before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.